Yo, 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 yo. Welcome to the Sunday edition of Blunt Talk NOLA. This is our Sunday convo time. We also gonna have a little bit of other news and a wrap up on the great revolts of history. Right? So we did talk a little bit about that Friday. We just got a few things that we want to wrap up on that, and then we're gonna jump into some any other news, then put the wrap up on that to get it started. How y'all Sundays going so far, fellas?
Cooling.
Good.
Anybody got any other news? Because my Sunday's been going pretty good as well. I'm a little under the weather, so if you hear me sniffling, just know I'm not feeling 100%. But I'm here. So in other news. Get this stuff.
Hold on. I got some stuff. Oh, that's crazy.
I'm about to say, Chop, you the man for the end of the news. You should normally be the first one. What up, DD504? Faithful listener, always in the building. Welcome.
That helps his daughter, who cannot help herself. What you're watching right now is Mark Zartler committing a crime that helps his daughter, who cannot help herself. 17 years ago, Christy Zartler gave birth to twin girls.
Keely, her twin, came home first, and then 3 days later, Kara followed her.
And they began the difficult, years-long task of learning how to treat Kara's cerebral palsy and severe autism.
This is an antipsychotic.
There are antipsychotics and enzymes and sleep aids, but few things helped fight off the worst of her symptoms. That could sometimes go on for hours.
Pretty much on a daily basis, we have some sort of episode.
When it's heating up, I turn off the fan, have a level 1/8 of a teaspoon.
When Mark found the one thing that could stop his daughter, he made this video to show the world. It takes 6 deep breaths. And a father's dedication.
You calm? Yeah, just get up. It's okay. Got me up. Okay.
I don't know if anybody noticed that big dramatic difference.
In fear of using it, trying it, giving it to her, having it.
But now there is no fear for the Zartlers, who risked everything by posting the video of Mark illegally treating Kara that more than 12,000 people have seen, and by talking to us.
I got to the point where we looked at the law and said the law is not going to change unless somebody gambles.
In his post, Mark asks that Texans call their state senators, demanding a public hearing on Senate Bill 269. It would expand the access of patients with debilitating illnesses to use medical marijuana. For Kara, that law could make moments of calm come legally.
You calm? Yeah, just get up.
And if showing what works for her puts Mark in jail, so be it.
Got me up. Okay.
Just saying, if we want to make a difference for ourselves and for other kids like Kara, somebody has to take the risk.
He's another father who will do anything for his daughter.
So was John Q. They want to kill his ass too.
So what's up? So what y'all think about him taking that risk, bro? Because you know, especially you brought John Q up because that goes to my next question. But I am happy before we go into that. I am happy that he was able to find something that helped his daughter, and that he was willing to go against the status quo to do that. So with that being said,
Round of applause to him.
do y'all
And
think
you got,
that
I think,
if dude was black, they would have had the same reaction?
no. Nah, it would not have been the same reaction. They'd have been trying to take his child away from him, call CPS, and throw the man in jail and all that stuff. So if he's saying, hey, I'm willing to go to jail to show y'all that this is something that, hell, I didn't even know if it was going to work, but it worked. And it's helping calm my daughter down from these episodes where she's physically harming herself for hours at a time, screaming and punching herself in the face. You know, you gotta be willing to take that risk. And if you're willing to lock him up for that, think about all the other parents who did the what's the word I'm looking for? They took the route of the medical professionals who prescribed them all these different medications and stuff like that for these children, and that shit wasn't working.
What
It
about
ain't
the
doing
children?
nothing.
What about the children that parents give them Tylenol and shit to make them go to sleep?
Those are just parents. Now let's look at that though, right? If you giving your child Tylenol, Benadryl, and all that just to make them go to sleep,
Or saying that they have sicknesses that they don't have, just so you can't get
just to give them that so they can go to sleep.
Still, all that's under the same umbrella.
Yeah, see them type of parents though, bro. I ain't gonna lie, they need to be beat. You know, I'm not advocating violence. But I'm just saying, they need to understand that you doing that like that creates a situation where these children become literally addicted to that shit. Like the minute they see somebody with a cold, they think they're supposed to take this medicine too. No, you're not. You ain't sick, right? You creating a sickness where there was none, right? So when you look at parents that just give their children Benadryl or Tylenol or what them other ones are, Advil and all that, just to get the children to go to sleep. Adderall, that's something that's got to be prescribed.
It don't matter if it's prescribed. If you telling a child they have something that they don't, just because you know what I'm saying? You think it's that, but it's not. So you going to the doctor, you telling the doctor this, and you saying something has to be wrong with my child. Then the doctor come back and tell you whatever they tell you, and the whole time it might not be nothing wrong with your child, or it might be something else that they can do that's more holistic than that. But Silent, you go ahead on if he was black, what you think, and how you feel about the parents giving their children the Tylenol and shit.
Oh yeah, like I was saying with the John Q reference, is more to it, and it shows you how fucked up the actual system really is. When it comes to things, the man know he could go to jail. He know.
Yeah.
And it's the same vibe of when Q did what he did. You know what I'm saying? He know he was going to jail. Matter of fact, I'm gonna possibly take myself out. Now this girl she's having a problem with violence against herself. So in his instance, it's a different type of torture that he's going through, rather than just them saying yeah as a parent rather than just not saying, well, no, you can't do it. He ain't even like you was. He ain't trying to hear that shit. I gotta watch my child, beat herself damn near, to a pulp until you realize that the shit you prescribing to me or whatever going on with that situation is not working. Y'all mentioned a couple of drugs. I think Ritalin is one of those bad dope type drugs, but probably still not dealing with the pain as far as them causing abuse to themselves. The man is obviously telling y'all what's really going on. Now I don't know what made him try that. Maybe he like realized or really kind of thought about it, or probably ran across something on YouTube or something, or saw a Dr. Sabi video or something. Who knows, right? But using that and going that far for your child is nothing you could tell a parent once it comes down to what's actually working and what's actually going on, if they are concerned about them. Now, if they don't give a fuck and just trying to calm them down and shit, like you was using the Tylenol reference, Chop, yeah. Or you just trying to get a check from them, yeah. Or if you trying to just use and abuse them, yeah. Or if you just trying to be sexually perverted with your child so they could go do shit so you could get money, whatever the case. But if it's on that type of time when you're giving them churn all them fucking medicines and shit, that's exactly what you're doing. You're sedating them for whatever fucking selfish reason that you want. Tylenol and all that shit is supposed to be actually prescribed as well if you're looking at what's wrong with the kid, if you're taking them to the doctor to go get their motherfucking checkups. It could be the food you're giving them that's causing a headache. It could be something else that you're not doing. So instead of being negligent with your fucking child, go see what's going on and be just as concerned as these two fathers was, referencing John Q and this man right here. So it definitely needs to be changed, and these people know that. So soon as they find out how to make more money off of it than prescription drugs that they making in these chemical labs, then there'll probably be a change. But they don't really give a fuck about people like that. It's about the profit.
Yeah, I believe.
I said it on one of the jobs I was on once before. It's profit over people.
Yeah, because think about it. If we started using, if just think about if we thought about marijuana as an medicinal plant, like something like greens or anything, something that you could get direct benefit from growing, cloves, shit like that, beets. You know what I'm saying? If you think about it in the same way, then now you have to sell seeds at the store. Like when you sell the vegetable seeds, now you have to sell it. Now more people are going to be planting it because they know the medicinal uses of it and the shit that it helps do. See what I'm saying? More people probably wouldn't smoke it or whatever. I think the fact that more people put it into a smoke, cause just like with her, right? Like he didn't have to do that vape shit he did with the little what you call it thing with the little breathing machine. He could have fucking made her a tea or made her a capsule or something like that, but all that would have what? A long time, hard to administer to her. You're gonna have to give her a pill, basically put it in her food,
right?
Stuff like that, to where but then you're gonna still have to wait for it to come down. With the smoke, he getting straight to it, like boom. You didn't inhale that shit 6 times. God forgive me, you high. You know what I'm saying?
Shoot. And you saw the difference when she got to the fourth, when she started calming down.
Reasonably so, nigga.
Yeah, she
whatever was sticking her in her brain, she trying to punch that shit clean out the side of her ear, nigga.
What? Shit. Now she didn't, started feeling the effects of the marijuana, and she done chilled out, and now she's easier to manage, with her sickness. So to me, dog, that's good, bro. I know that is other people that done said it before. We seen this man, this video, but I guess whatever it takes for it to get out, right? So congratulations to that man, and that was fire to figure out that with autism, because how many
Yeah,
parents?
and they're not gonna arrest you. Just don't go too far with business,
Yeah,
because like Chop was saying, if you start selling seeds and making that shit shake like that, then they gonna come for that, because they get jealous when you make a little money, especially off something that's gonna help provide children with
right.
autism. Shit
Thank
that
you. That's
you
what I'm saying.
help
This is
create with this fucked up society and all kind of shit. So
one of the
we ain't gonna
main
get
things
into
we
that.
talk about.
Let's see. Run them donations, Nick.
This shit right here is hilarious and fucked up at the same time. You know, I had fun. This is ridiculous.
Little did they know they would not be going to the game.
Everybody's under arrest. Put your hands on your head.
In 1985, the FBI used NFL football tickets as bait in a sting operation to catch suspects who had outstanding warrants. The FBI mailed out fake invitations to wanted criminals, offering them free Washington Redskins tickets. The FBI even got creative with the fake names they used on invitations they sent out. They used names like Mr. Cran, which is narc spelled backward, and Mr. Detnon, which is wanted spelled backward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cran. I received a letter from you for a brunch on December 15th. Did it say that you had won 2 complimentary tickets to the Redskins and Cincinnati Bengals game? Yes, sir. Congratulations. Thank you.
The sting was set up at a Washington, D.C. hotel. The suspects arrived thinking they were attending an exclusive celebration before the game. The criminals who showed up were excited to be there and to go to the game.
Man, this shit.
Washington. To make it seem more realistic and to truly go undercover, FBI agents had to wear disguises. Some posed as janitors, others were cheerleaders, and even mascots were used so the agents could blend in. Once the suspects arrived and confirmed their identities, the agents led them to a conference room. And once they were settled into the room, the SWAT team would burst in through the door and arrest them.
We really have a big surprise for you today. Everybody's under arrest. Don't move. Put your hands on your head.
Among those who were caught were 2 people who were on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list. That day, over 100 criminals were arrested, making this one of the most successful and creative sting operations in FBI history.
They were asking from the bus, can I still go to the game?
What happened to the game? If you wanted to get me, you could have came to my house, man, and they know where I live at.
This thing was over. But at the end, we had quite a few families. They were absolutely in shock.
They burned this, man. It was a good show anyway.
So what do you think about all of this?
This is all bull.
It is misdemeanors.
That's crazy, man.
Nigga got 2 niggas that was on, just 2, huh? Nigga arrested 100. So what is the percentage of this thing? Of
Look like a bunch of niggas to me.
I guess they'll say 100, right? Yeah. Oh, it was definitely a bunch of niggas. I didn't even get to that yet. After that, just speak of the sting, dude. Like, right? It was one of the most successful in all this crazy ass shit, right? But only 2 people was on the most wanted list. So all the other shit was what? Like little misdemeanors and shit. But y'all got them all on something, so it was successful. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. They did that shit to some other people too. I forgot what it was. Food stamps or some shit.
That's retarded.
It was surprised when buku white people showed up, nigga. That shit is hilarious. Hey, bro, they gonna try all kind of ways. Did they go by the law when they did this too? Because that is a lot of niggas too. So was it targeted?
No,
because niggas loved it in Washington back then, I guess too. It's 85, so Washington.
Hell yeah. Now I'm gonna say this. That's entrapment. Because you supposed to identify yourself as a police officer if you gonna arrest somebody, right? You don't wait until after you done lured them into a trap. Then tell them, hey, guess what? All of y'all under arrest. Like, hold on, dude.
It's some type of call. I mean, it's definitely some type of charge. It's a charge. I believe it is a charge. Because like old school said, nigga, y'all know where I live at. Y'all could have just came to my house.
Right.
Let me watch the game first.
Now think about it.
What y'all, man?
You ain't served no warrants or nothing. You just, yeah, you live at this address? Yeah, we're gonna send you some tickets to the game. Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. See you at the game. Then they get there huddle them all up in one big room, then tell them they all
People
under
gotta
arrest.
stop being stupid though, Peter. They gotta
True
stop
that.
being stupid. Bro.
Yeah, that's
How
true.
you give a nigga your name and say, yeah, this me?
Exactly. Why did you think you won the
Mr.
tickets,
Washington?
nigga? What did you sign
Mr.
up
Washington, do you know you won some
Right.
tickets
See, that's the
for the
other thing they not
Redskins?
talking about
You were-
me.
they ain't asked no questions. They heard they getting something for nothing. And most
That's it.
times,
That's all it takes.
That be the problem with wanting something for
criminals
nothing,
and them
huh,
type
bro?
of people, they want
That's
it.
it from
That's all I
something,
had for
something.
other news. Though. I just really had to show y'all that shit. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
bro.
man.
Yeah, bro. That
Oh,
shit was
Lord,
a
y'all.
big thing back in the days too. But again, you know, if you didn't know how to argue the law that was entrapment, that shit was gonna stick. Now, the ones that probably did know, yeah, they probably got, okay, yeah, well, you know what? We gotta dismiss the case against you because your lawyer is arguing entrapment, da-da-da-da. Everybody else who didn't know that that's considered entrapment, which is illegal, you know, they gonna sit. But yeah, that's how that go. I got a couple of things. Silent, you got anything for in other news, or like you want to go last?
I'm gonna let you fly, bro. I pretty much knew you probably had something, because my segment, you know, it's gonna be a little lengthy conversation, so I'm gonna leave that up to y'all, fellas. If y'all want a word from my brother Steve Coakley just to remind our brains to reset, we could do that.
Okay. Do we have him up?
I
on
fucked
this?
you up when I said that.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Here we go, Pete. Check me out.
Attack someone you can't reach, but protect the one who is hidden by paying other people to misdirect the real attack system. See, we'll get confused about the attack. We don't know sometimes when you're being given something, you're being attacked.
And that's a fact, Jack.
Jive
All right,
turkey.
so I got
You bum trick
three things for in other news, man. I'ma play one of the ones that I ain't gonna lie, bro. I used to say this shit when I was a little younger, cause the way shit was happening, it really didn't make no sense, and it still don't make no sense to this day. And now you got a brother who looked like he come from the street later in life, and I'm talking about much later, because this video don't look that old, saying some of the shit I was saying about these niggas out here in the streets. Check this out. Shit, I get it up.
I want everybody. What everybody did to you. The mama didn't do nothing to you. That lady go to work every day. She don't know what her son out here doing. That lady don't want no problem with you. That lady probably want to talk to you before you can stop going through it with her son. This little girl in her room playing her video game or in there doing TikToks, and you shoot through the house looking for the brother or the cousin or the uncle or the daddy, and you kill this little girl. And all she wanted to do was TikTok and dance. She liked to dance. Her birthday was coming up. Christmas around the corner. Niggas don't use their head. That shit ain't real niggas, bro. Them niggas. Fuck niggas do shit like that and shoot up houses, bro. And I don't give a fuck how nobody take it, bro. If you done shot up a house before and you on here, bro, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. Go get the nigga that did something to you. That shit real as fuck, bro. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Cause I swear to God on my life, bro. On God, bro. And I'm being dead serious. The shit got me about to cry, bro. On God. Nigga, a nigga with me, bro. I ain't finna shoot up your house. I don't give a fuck if I know where your mama stay at, bro. Your little sister in the yard, bro. That little girl life is precious as fuck to her right now, bro. She don't got no bills or nothing right now. And the nigga shoot up a whole yard with kids and that shit and call theyself a real nigga or a stepper. You fuck niggas ain't steppers. That shit don't be cool. That shit ain't stepping. Stepping is, you gotta understand what stepping is. You gon' step on nigga what's trying to step on you. You gon' step, you gon' tiptoe. That what stepping is. That what the stepping is. You ain't stepping. You done shot out these people's house. What if that was your mama, your little sister? And I look at that shit, dog, and I pray, why you think I stay out of so much shit, dog? because my people still in the hood. And if I go do something to somebody and my little cousin or my little sister pay for it, I heard somebody.
All right, fellas, what y'all got for me?
Bandhead Music Productions.
So, just to let y'all know, you know, this is the type of shit that I've been saying, and it's sad that we see these types of things happen, right? And now you got brothers that look like they done been through some shit in the street, coming to the forefront saying something. Deep down in your heart of hearts, you want to kill a nigga that bad, I don't think it's worth going to shoot up that man mama house or grandma house or whatever. For whatever he did to you. You wait till you catch that man by himself and you do what you gotta do then. I'm not advocating for it, but if somebody did you something that bad to where you feel like you gotta take that life, obviously whatever it is that you out there doing ain't worth it. Nah, man kill your mama, man kill your daughter, that's different. I see that. But I'm not about to take no innocent people because of you. You know, oh, I can't get it, I'm gonna get his mama. Come on, man. I can't get it, I'm gonna hit it where it hurt until I make him come out. You got the patience to sit there and do all that other shit. You got the patience to sit there and wait for that man to come through so you can do what you gotta do.
Bandhead Music Productions.
You don't go attack no man's family. I got one more, man. This one here come from LeVar Burton and what's his name? Lawrence Fishburne sitting down having a conversation. And it's about how people of the non-melanin kind feel safe with you as long as you doing what they do. They want you to do. Y'all got anything to say before I move on? Let me know.
I was waiting just to see if somebody had something to say, but before,
okay.
I ain't want to interrupt nobody, but around you know, coming from a place of concern and sincerity, you know what I'm saying? When you're in the streets, you understand that there are certain things that don't apply to people when they don't have no get right, as they say. They're gonna do what they gotta do. They're gonna feel like all of it's justified, and whatever you say is fuck you, nigga. So when you have these people in your vicinity, you can't let them rock if you feel like they shouldn't be shooting up kids and mamas and stuff like that too. There's a code of ethic that should be applied, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Niggas believe in all this extra ass shit, so niggas is doing what? Extra ass shit. Because now you've substituted respect for money.
Mm-hmm.
You loyalty for clout.
Bandhead Music Productions.
See? So these two things eliminates each other. So you can only be now one or the other. And I think the dudes who have loyalty and respect for the streets and the people, you know, that's not in the streets, then you need to see more brothers like him step up and really bring that shit back to the core meaning of what you're there for, if that's what you set out to do or set out to be. You know what I'm saying? Treat it like a fucking career and have some respect about it. You know, stop doing bad deals with crazy motherfuckers and shit. Like, you know, these things have to be eliminated if you want this type of time brought back, or this type of feel brought back to y'all neighborhoods, and that's one of the things that's a block in the rebuilding or the refreshing of, you know, said communities.
Restructuring
or reconstruction. Yeah, that's a good word from it too. I say refresh because they believe, you know, it's the computer age and shit. You need to refresh your whole computer. Hit the button, turn that bitch off, and let it come back on and refresh. So one of these moves is getting them crazy ass motherfuckers out of your community, like them crazy ass apps you don't want and shit. Yeah.
All right, what you got, Chop? Okay, he'll come back. We'll come back to it. So this next one, like I said, is from LeVar Burton and Lawrence Fishburne sitting down having a conversation about how people of the non-melanin kind feel safe as long as you doing what you want to
Yeah,
do.
niggas know they gotta stop doing that bitch ass shit, bruh. They know they gotta stop. Niggas know they gotta stop doing that bitch ass shit, bruh. They know they got. Cause you act like you ain't hear me. But yeah, niggas gotta stop doing that shit, son. Like they just gotta stop shooting up shit. If you want to shoot somebody, shoot the person that did you something. You know what I'm saying? That's just how that shit go or whatever.
How it's supposed to.
A lot of times, I hear young people say, if I can't get to you, I'm gonna get to somebody else. Like when you the thing with that is you have to automatically know that now that means your people are gang. You know what I'm saying? So they might have some beefs and a nigga might be saying, oh well, look, I'm just gonna do this, that, and the third. You know, I'm just gonna shoot at you and not wait till I catch you by yourself or whatever. But nigga done caught you and you was with somebody and nigga still say, fuck it, I'm gonna just go, you know, niggas just go with their move or whatever. Now you done made that shit bad for your family because fuck, now they targets and all that type of shit. So that's the benefit of it just being between y'all. Now I do understand the niggas that's gonna say, well, a nigga killed my people, so now, you know, I want to kill them. But that, to be honest, and I know this gonna be hard for people to understand, I am not saying that I wouldn't, you know, try to give retaliation if something happened to one of my people. What I am saying too is something happened or transpired between my people and that person for the shit to get that far. So as a person on the retaliation side, if I don't know the whole story, it's hard for me to retaliate. You know what I'm saying? Because my people could have been on some fuck shit and I'm going out there and risking my life, and the whole time my people was wrong or whatever. But at the end of the day, my people could have been 100% in the right, and you know, nigga try to do some snake shit. Now we got an issue or whatever. So it's a bunch of ways that shit could go or whatever. But at the end of the day, let's just try to keep it between the people that actually have the issue with each other.
It would be best to keep it amongst each other. All right, so check this video out, y'all, and tell me what y'all think about this after it's finished playing.
Clip of LeVar Burton having a just casual conversation with Lawrence Fishburne and said some of the most real, God knows how long. And I'm just here to share it with you.
You know the chains I wore in Roots? I keep them over the hearth in my living room, right above my 12 inches. What is that about? I don't know. What is it to you? America first met me as Kunta Kinte, a young African kid who was kidnapped, tortured, refused his slave name. Then I read to their children and maintained the integrity of their favorite spaceship. Pretty soon, people began to think of me as safe. Oh, the safest. Once, I read Go the Fuck to Sleep for charity. One of my brand partners dropped me. What, you can't even say fuck? I can, but there are consequences. I said fuck. I lost money. Shit. If I showed how angry I really am, but I'm not gonna hide it. So, I keep my chains on the wall in the living room. I want my guests to know, while I am unquestionably their friend, I am also absolutely
keyword
filled with rage.
I am absolutely
not the rage. Why do they want me to unquestionably be their friend?
Exactly.
Who is they? And why should I feel so privileged to be? Nah, it's not even obligated. They're not gonna make you feel obligated. That's what he's trying to tell you. The whole theme is to not make you feel obligated. This is what you want to do. You want to be a happy, nice, go-lucky nigga and have nothing in the world wrong with you. But soon as you express any of that, then you're looked down upon. They ain't gonna take nothing from you, P. But they're gonna make you feel some type of way, and then that leads into other shit. See, it's very subtle. It's not straight at you. They don't just walk up to you with the noose and hang you. They give you the rope until you pick your tree. He say, I'm mad. But it's probably just a regular this man want to have regular conversations and play dominoes and shit, P. He can't do that because he reading Rainbow and shit. That's what he trying to tell you. They have me trapped in this loophole box of what a nigga represents to their people, not to us. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They're feeding them poison as well as teaching us that, you know, black niggas can read, and they can read on a rainbow, on a spectrum. Dang. Okay. See, it's dealing with both stereotypes at the same time. Killing two birds with one stone, as they say. Well, it's a fool. That's why Lawrence Fishburne was looking at him. He knew exactly what the fuck he was talking about. The man about to damn near cry, bro.
What? Yeah, you can.
Oh man, shit.
Yeah, you can.
No, he's saying it in. He's not saying it like he don't know that. He's saying that in journalistic form where he could expound on it more. So you ask that type of question. But he knows, Pete. That's what I'm telling you. Because Lawrence Fishburne had to do it as well. Remember, he played in the Kings of New York.
Pee-wee's Playhouse. Pee-wee's Playhouse.
He played Othello, nigga. He played motherfucking Morpheus, nigga. I'm just saying, there's a range of things that this man played, brother. He done played all kind of shit. So he understands when he walks in there, he know what they looking for. He understand when he see their stereotypical bullshit as well of who he's supposed to be when they want to be treated like just normal, regular human beings. But they're not regular because they want me to do all this shit. But I'm out of order because I want the acceptance and the same respect that you get. I'm the one get called out. I'm hard to work with. I'm blackballed. I'm all this other raggedy ass bullshit that they create because they don't want you to disagree with them. They want you to go along to get along. It is what it is. Whatever circle that is too, because there's different circles too. But it all ties into the same shit, just like a spider web that done caught some flies. That's why they need secret societies, Peter. You ever thought about that? They need that shit. So they had to tell you a little bit about it, just to get more members. But they ain't gonna really tell you what's going on. They need that shit, though. That's how you control. One way.
Or the other.
Hollywood.
That was it for me for the end of the news portion. I don't want to hold up too much time. So, yeah, pass the torch, man. But I definitely think that was very, oh shit, my bad. I think that was very.
How you passing the torch? It's your week, brother.
Insightful. Well, I was giving you the opportunity to do your end of the news.
That mean you ain't listening to nothing I said earlier, huh?
Oh, you ain't had no end of the news.
I gave you brother Steve Coakley. No, I said I wasn't doing it because.
Oh,
this
okay.
man here.
All right. Well, no, because it was just gonna be end of the news and the wrap up of the greatest revolts in history. Child didn't present.
Yeah, I know. You ain't gotta tell me again.
You know,
I know exactly what happened. You forgot, remember? Do your thing, brother. Don't let me stop you. Brother Steve Coakley said you've been given something, and you're probably not supposed to get it. So don't take it on. Don't take it, Peter. I'm telling you, sometime when a nigga give you $40, you might supposed to have none.
Them tickets ain't worth it.
Nigga gave you some eggs, and them bitches probably really gremlins, and you done ate them motherfuckers. I'm just saying.
La 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 la. Go ahead, Chop. What you got, baby?
Van Head Music Productions.
Yeah, I don't know where
You
you're
still in other news?
But nah, he on. Oh wait, yeah, I gotta take that back.
That's all good. I thought you were supposed to go first though, because it's your week. But I digress.
There are many complexities to African resistance to European invasion. First, there was no general African identity. Looking at this ethnic map of Africa, we see that each color represents a different group. The most robust communities were cultural, religious, and political. Competition with neighboring communities was prioritized for political and economic gains. That weakened the African response to European invasion. In general, Europeans exploited the conflicts among groups and perpetuated others in order to gain control of areas and trade. Many Africans tried to negotiate with Europeans if they appeared to offer an economic and political advantage, and in many instances, allied with them to assist in subduing their enemies. 15 million people were removed from the African continent. According to John Henry Clark, it was the Arabs who began the oppression, sale, and enslavement of African people. The Europeans then internationalized it. The most pronounced narrative is that the African chiefs were responsible for enslavement. However, only 40% of the Africans removed were done so with African conspirators. This horrific practice lasted well over 300 years, so there are many nuances. To be used as laborers, the kidnapping, sale, and exploitation of African people enriched and developed the Americas, the European, and the Arab nations. Throughout the 15th to 19th centuries, the Europeans fought each other for control over the slaves and access to land. However, they would unite to suppress any African revolt. Millions of Africans were displaced and dispersed throughout the world. There are 400 documented revolts on ships. Most of them took place along the coast of Africa. On this map, we see 100 of those revolts deemed successful. There were thousands of revolts by Africans and African descendants. Descriptions of up to 300 are offered here. At every stage of enslavement, Africans fought back. That is what this map is all about.
Well, she said African a lot. She kept saying African, but I guess that's the story of the African themselves. Nah, the ship situation with the revolts on ships. I've heard stories about people jumping in the waters and all that stuff just to make sure they don't go. I've heard of them being thrown in the water, to make sure they don't make it or whatever too. But I don't know. She didn't even specifically say which revolt. Like she wasn't specific to anything, right? Y'all heard her say anything specific or specific revolt? She just said them
Not at
bitches was
all.
happening.
At least 400 revolts happened, but only 100 was successful. Hold up. Well, what happened to
See,
the
look,
other
what I'm
300?
saying is, you would know if it's a revolt like that. It should be tied to a tribe or a name who was doing it, right? Versus just saying they ain't come over here willingly. It was a lot of them that fought. They was documented, but they're not saying what tribes or this, that, and the third, or at least she not saying that. So for the people that only really see us talk about the Indian ones, that's why. Because when you talk about the Indian ones, they at least tell you what tribe of people it was that was revolted. When they tell you about the African ones, they don't tell you where the people came from that was trying to revolt. If that makes sense.
Right. Nor do they tell you they just keep saying African. But again, if you don't tell me specifically where in Africa were the slaves being brought from that revolted, how can we gauge?
She said that in the beginning, but you see how them Africans talk? Like they give you that, they tell you in the beginning, oh, you don't know what tribe it is because it was multiple tribes, and that's what the Europeans used against them to try to conquer them. But you still not saying what tribes it was. Did Africa accept the one color all nation thing? Did they accept that?
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Because if we still, it would be hard to say you're gonna accept one color for one nation when they still got white people living over there. That's been living over there since slavery or probably before slavery or whatever like that. So we can't say one color, one nation, or one continent, one nation. You know what I'm saying?
And she don't know nobody.
Yeah, I can't see that being the thing.
She should at least say the tribe name.
At least
the tribe name.
But they don't. But that's the thing. Why tell you the information on what tribe was what when, like, they just showed you everything that was coming off the coast? Well, when I was taught the shit, Yeah, you said everything came off the coast, but on that map, they just showed they was talking like motherfuckers were being took from all over Africa
They had
and
mostly
being, you
him
know
the
what I'm
one that
saying?
took
Like
the vote.
I can't see that. You ain't gonna make if they was revolting on a boat, why weren't they revolting on the land too? You see what I'm saying?
Right. What you got, Simon?
Oh yeah, yeah, she was definitely African bombing. That's what I'm gonna call it. Like love bombing. She was definitely African bombing on it. And she had points of revolts as well. I think this is what we gotta understand when we listen to people as well. We have to start doing our research to decipher what's actually being said versus what's being told to us too. Because I'm not saying she's wrong about the said revolts. This could be actual facts. But like y'all said too, no tribal names, no real affiliation, just basically saying African descent or actual Africans. Like everything that was dark skinned came from over there. And I totally disagree with that. I don't look at the map even being told how it was presented to us, believing that to say that this is the only place that melanated people come from when we come in different colors of hues from the lightest yellow to the darkest brown. Like I don't get why people keep mixing that up and making it seems like, oh yeah, wait, your mama fucked a white man on that bullshit. Like it doesn't make no sense to not believe that people came out the way the fuck they came out. It's very racist at the same time, but then you're feeding an ideology that comes from racist pale skinned people. So when you do that, you're automatically making a separation of people and what their actual heritage and nationality actually is. You can't believe niggas was jumping high and running fast. We do that now. Y'all lied to us about horses. Y'all say that shit came from Europe. No, it did. It came from the Americas. You have hundreds and hundreds of them same revolts. You have hundreds and hundreds of investigation evidence of people finding shit older than Africa here. Stop ignoring that shit. Every time you want to say that somebody is helping up for Indians, since when? Africa has always been the main front of where we came from and has always been undeniably the thing that people believe. Y'all feeling some type of way because now this is coming out to the blue because you never learned it. And I get it. But don't feel no type of way when evidence is actually being shown, because this is what we do over here. We try to understand the evidence. So I'm never going to say the sister, the brother, the uncle is older than the mama and the fucking daddy. I'm never going to do that. Y'all don't even want to do that shit in religion. So why do it when it comes to your skin color or your nationality that you don't want to represent? Remember, only two people that still catches on to them not knowing where they come from: white and black. He's the only two motherfuckers still use this goof ass shit.
Hi,
so that
Prince
is
Mill,
the main marker. That's the main marker, but that basically saying that all that was all Africa, I totally disagree with her with that.
Then you go to me. Another thing is when I started researching it, I literally had to put Indian in to not get an African revolt.
I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah, like they wouldn't just do Indian.
Like they serious with it.
Yeah, merging in and make it seem like, you know what I'm saying?
You have to fuck with the algorithm. You have to twist words up and all kind of shit.
Whatever revolt from Africa from slave. I'm like, damn, all I said was revolt. And revolt is basically a slave. Like, slaves shouldn't come up when I say revolt.
Let me tell you
Revolt
something, Ron.
should
You
come
got,
up.
let me put something on your head, just something simple that we all can understand logically and scientifically and spiritually, nigga. Like whatever you believe in, right? Just check this. Just hear me out. You got about 10 Shannon Sharps and Lawrence Taylors on your boat, nigga. And you a little bit of ass 5'6" white boy shit. How you gonna control them niggas?
Right.
You just got them on chains and shit, y'all. Think about what I'm saying.
You
How
ain't
the
gonna
fuck you
control
go? So what about 100 then, y'all? You got 100 of them niggas up there.
Man,
Huh?
you ain't about to control 10 of them.
Yes, they
Wow.
had revolts. You see what I'm saying, sir? Yes. Like when they was bringing niggas from the Americas to Europe, they had revolts. See, that's what she didn't mention as well. That happened way before the transatlantic slave trade. We talked about this Friday, fellas, when I brought up that shit. Remember, they was bringing them niggas from here first and going back that way. Because they was building shit that was cleared out from on that end. This was desert lands too, also where white people done moved out of, yo. They done left the shit deserted after they done tore the shit up. They got niggas to rebuild it. One of them was called Negro land. They called the shit Negro land. Because they was pulling Negroes that the Spaniards done conquered in Brazil, fellas. Uh-oh. Going right back that way. So before she even mentioned the transatlantic slave trade, she got to understand slavery was going on in the 1400s, man. Niggas was still here. Shit, transatlantic ain't come to the 1800s. Transatlantic ain't come to the 1800s, fellas. Think about it. Oh my God. How much shit done happened since the 1800s? How many stories have y'all heard of shit that went on in the 1800s? Niggas was going to school in the 1800s. Yo, come on, stop playing.
Yep.
What are we talking about? Niggas was wearing top hats in the 1800s.
Niggas had suits.
And millions of niggas came off boats all around that time. So who all these other niggas is? I'm just asking. That's all. I'm done. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm for the people, y'all. Just try to make common sense out of your conversations, please. Don't just be following people like they your dirty little pastor, yeah? Keep asking you for tithing and shit. Stop doing that. Stop holding on to Africa. If you love Africa, that's cool. Go to Africa and go see how much they love you. That's the motherland, right?
I guarantee
Or get your ass on the boat if you want the full experience.
Chop,
And
they are
go your
lit.
ass to Africa.
Watch what I tell you. They're lit. They trying to overcharge you. They trying to people that already went there and said what the experience was. Like they just should try to be a regular person. No, you gotta have them ends and shit and be already settled and good and know people and all this type of shit. You gotta be let into the community and all this shit here. They scamming you all kind of ways. You gotta have them fucking ends.
Crash
you go
course
over there to Africa as an American. I digress though, chap. You good?
American history. Today, we're going to be talking about the Louisiana Rebellion of 1811, which was the largest slave revolt in American history. The Louisiana Rebellion of 1811, also known as the German Coast Uprising, was epic by all accounts. On what was called Epiphany Sunday, some emboldened enslaved men reached an epiphany like no other.
Yes, I was going to talk about
They were
this one, chap.
determined
I'm glad you
to
talking
take the
about
city
it.
of
Listen
New
to this
Orleans
shit.
and burn everything else down in the process. Let's check it out.
I was just talking about dates too, fellas. Check
I
out
want
the
to note
dates.
up top that this episode will address some challenging topics and include descriptions of extreme violence. A few days after Epiphany Sunday, on a rainy evening, the night of January 8th, 1811, hundreds of enslaved men took up arms, determined to secure their freedom. It is remarkable to consider that hundreds of enslaved people who came from different countries with different native languages and different tribal affiliations were able to organize themselves as effectively as they did. Dressed in military garb, this group marched through plantations from Louisiana's German coast all the way to New Orleans, and they gathered more soldiers as they went. On the German coast of Louisiana, where the rebellion took place, named as such for the German immigrants who settled there, roughly 60% of the total population was enslaved. The fear of armed insurrection had long been in the air. The leader of this rebellion was a mixed-race slave driver named Charles Dillon. Dillon had been inspired by the Haitian Revolution that ended only 7 years prior in 1804, a revolution in which black forces, who at various points had fought off the British, the Spanish,
He was inspired,
and the French, created the first nation to permanently ban
He
slavery.
couldn't just be tired.
And
Huh?
would become the first
I
black
digress.
republic in the entire world. The German Coast Uprising revealed the Haitian Revolution's impact.
You know what that proves? That means if he's saying that and this shit happened in 1811, that means them niggas was revolting in the 1700s too.
Not only on the demographics of Louisiana,
And that shit
which
wasn't
up to
called no
that point
fucking
had been
German coast
importing
neither.
enslaved
You already know
workers
them
from
niggas knew
Haiti,
that land.
but also
Nigga,
how
that
the
was
success
Lake
of the
Ross
revolution
train, I see.
fundamentally changed the trajectory of the U.S. and its history by making possible the
y'all saw
Louisiana
the suits
Purchase.
in the top
See, in
hat.
1803, Thomas
call it
Jefferson
New
purchased
Orleans.
a huge chunk of North America from
Shouldn't be
France.
saying New Orleans.
Whether he was allowed to do so under his presidential authority is up for debate. But in any case, Napoleon Bonaparte was in need of some money after the Haitian Revolution had dashed his hopes of building a French empire in the New World. The French army was so beleaguered from battle and disease that by the end of the war, more than 80% of the soldiers sent to try and quell the Haitian Revolution had died. Napoleon Bonaparte, looking to cut his losses and refocus his attention on his military battles in Europe, sold the entire territory of Louisiana to Thomas Jefferson's negotiators for a paltry $15 million, about 4 cents an acre. Without the Haitian Revolution, it's really unlikely that Napoleon would have sold a landmass that doubled the size of the then United States, especially as Jefferson had only intended to approach the French basically looking to just purchase New Orleans in order to have access to the mouth of the Mississippi.
Now, didn't we just talk about how a while ago the Louisiana Purchase included Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida? Because all of that was a part of Louisiana at one point, right? Didn't we just discuss that? Because I could have sworn all that they showing, plus
4 cents an acre,
Alabama, Florida, and I think Tennessee was a part of Louisiana. So now we got a contradictory story happening where the Louisiana Purchase is showing that parts of Texas all the way up to, what is that? I guess you could say North Dakota, South Dakota is, or Ohio and all them places, this all was a part of the Louisiana Purchase. Oh no, somebody lying.
Something fishy is. Something is fishy.
somebody lying.
Suspicious. It's making me think a lot. Okay.
I'm gonna tell y'all like this. I'm from New Orleans.
4 cents an acre. 4 cents an acre.
That's a lot of fucking acreage. And ain't no way you selling that shit for no $15 million. All that space, when during the time that motherfuckers was still coming over here, y'all was selling this shit hundreds of acres for $1. So $15 million at roughly 4 cents an acre. Something, you know what? I'm gonna find. We gotta find a way.
That don't even sound logic. I'm telling you, bro, that's not even logical. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Listen to me. Louisiana Purchase was a setup, y'all, for them to take the Mississippi River. See, this land is way more historical than we actually give it credit for. But Napoleon and them, they was digging and shit, and they was doing their thing. Now Napoleon is like saying Napoleon is a character. Napoleon is like saying dare, dare to get the people off drugs. Remember the drug program, y'all? They got a little a saying for it. Napoleon is the same. Me, to be honest with you, I don't think I don't think that nigga was real like that. Because this, at the same time, fella, he was taking over Egypt and going to the tombs and shit. So
Yeah,
how
how
he
was he
over
doing
there
both at the
and
same
over
time?
there? Yeah, and you know it take that amount of time just by us being slaves
3
and shit, right?
years. Yeah, because it was like it take 3 years to
Remember
travel
how
from
long
over
it
there
take
to
for to
over
get a
here
nigga
by
over
foot.
here, P?
They had no steam engines and all that shit back then. So how the fuck was you transporting back and forth to Egypt from the Americas to Egypt and Egypt back over here? That's like 6-year trips, right? 3 years going, 3 years coming back. So how long was you doing that shit for? Yeah, we that's an investigation for your ass right there. Make the math make sense.
That's all I'm
Go
saying,
ahead,
P.
Chop.
I just want people to think. Yeah, that's all. I'm asking questions at this point.
Mississippi River. There were also many Haitians who emigrated to the U.S. in the years following the revolution. According to historian Manisha Sinha, the most direct consequence of the Haitian Revolution in the United States was the influx of refugees into cities like New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Charleston, and New Orleans. In other words, New Orleans and much of southern Louisiana had long-standing connections with Haiti. This tells us a lot
Really, you don't
about
say.
the climate at the time of the German Coast Uprising. A significant amount of the enslaved population had arrived soon after witnessing a slave uprising that led to the abolition of slavery and the establishment of a free country. So as I'm sure you can imagine,
There were black
a
Frenchmen
number of the
too that was
refugees
working
that
for the
came to the
army as
United
well,
States
as you can see on
were
the
very
picture.
much bringing the spirit of the Haitian Revolution alongside them. Historians aren't positive, but believe Charles Delon was born either in Saint-Domingue, current-day Haiti, or in Louisiana in 1787. Either way, by 1811,
there you go, Chop.
Charles was a
Dang.
slave driver on the plantation
Dirty
of Manuel
motherfuckers.
Andrew. Andrew was known for the cruelty and violence he practiced on his plantation. But Charles was an overseer, which granted him more privileges than some other enslaved people. It also gave him the right to inflict punishment on other enslaved people. And while this did not mean he was exempt from Andrew's cruelty or violence, his position granted him some relative power within the larger slave system. It was another one of the upsetting and insidious things about slavery, both to be tasked with inflicting violence on the enslaved while you are enslaved yourself. What we find, however, is that in the context of this rebellion, Charles's position was essential in hatching and carrying out the plan. Black men sometimes occupied the role of overseer in the Deep South, which positioned them as a sort of middleman between the plantation owner and the plantation laborer. When enslaved laborers made plans to resist, they would usually have to communicate in code or in secret or in small groups to avoid getting caught by the overseer. But if the overseer is the one coming up with the plan, rather than the one trying to stop it, it's a whole different ballgame. But Charles didn't
It's
do
a
this
whole
work alone.
different ballgame.
To pull off something like this, he would need help. And two enslaved men, named Cook and Quamana, worked closely by Charles's side and emerged as influential leaders of this rebellion. So what was the plan? While it's difficult to know exactly because of limited documentation from the time, there is some important information that we do know. Let's go to the thought.
Because of limited
The Sunday just before the
documentation.
uprising, plantation owner James Brown spotted three men, Charles, Quamana, and Harry, an enslaved carpenter from Virginia, all meeting in secret. They packed into a small shack behind the big house of the Andrew plantation, while the rest of the enslaved population was out enjoying Epiphany Sunday. Enslaved Black people who grew their own crops, in addition to their duties, regularly met on Sundays in the marketplace to trade with one another. The marketplace, filled with a mix of African captives, Haitians, and native-born Black Americans, was not only a place to trade goods, but was also often a festive place, with drums and singing and dancing. Spanish enslavers, who were well experienced with trading and managing African captives, thought that this was a bad idea, commenting that these celebratory proceedings could be masking real plans to rebel. And they were right. Historians have noted that these dancing sessions could also serve as covert military training. From the time they arrived in 1806, Cook and Kwamana used such events to tap into the network of enslaved people from all over New Orleans. They immediately showed discontent for their enslaved status and took to the streets spreading the word of their plans to rebel away from the watchful eyes and listening ears of the white planter class. So we can't determine what exactly Charles and the others were saying in those secret meetings, but it's clear that it provided kindling for what will become one of the most explosive rebellions in American history. Thanks, Thought Bubble. The rebellion began when between 15 and 25 enslaved men attacked Manuel Andre on his plantation. Though wounded, Andre managed to escape to warn the other plantation owners in his vicinity. Andre's son Gilbert, however, was killed. The rebels then broke into Manuel Andre's stores and stole weapons and militia uniforms. As they moved into St. Charles Parish, they amassed quite a following. While some available documents suggest that only 124 enslaved people participated, several eyewitness accounts attest to much larger numbers, closer to 500. As the men marched along the bends of the river, drums rumbling, flags held high above their heads, they attacked several plantations with an assortment of knives, machetes, muskets, and other scavenged weapons, killing 2 white men and destroying property in their wake. Still, not many of the enslaved fighters had guns, and it would only take a small number of armed troops to stop their liberatory march. And within 48 hours, local militia and federal troops had suppressed the rebellion. DeLorme briefly escaped the initial wave of slaughter by hiding in the swamp, but was quickly captured and then executed. His hands were chopped off, the bones in his legs were shattered by bullets, and he was burned over a bale of straw. Many of the rebels were slaughtered on sight, their heads cut off and posted on stakes that lined the levee, a warning to other enslaved people that this was the price to pay for rebellion. Naval officer Samuel Hambledon wrote, "They were brung here for the sake of their heads, which decorate our levee, all the way up the coast. They look like crows sitting on long poles." Commodore Shaw captured the planters' sense of fear that pushed them to respond with such violence against those who had participated in the insurrection and made an example to the larger enslaved population. Had not the most prompt and energetic measures been thus taken, the whole coast would have exhibited a general sense of devastation. Every description of property would have been consumed, and the country laid waste by rioters. The backlash was brutal. Alarmed enslavers in Louisiana invested deep resources in training local militia, and slave patrols began surveilling Black people with increasing frequency, in addition to limiting their ability to congregate in large groups. Meanwhile, the federal government committed to defending the institution of slavery by officially granting Louisiana statehood as a slave state in 1812. Unlike some other rebellions that have become central to our collective memory of slavery in this country, the 1811 slave revolt has received far less attention. As we mentioned, there are no real notes of what was said between the co-conspirators, and we don't have much that gives us insight into what Charles may have been thinking. So while scholars are unclear why Charles would have been willing to give up the security that his position gave him, what is clear is that, for him, tearing down the institution was worth risking it all. So, was the 1811 uprising a success? As we said before, notions of what is or isn't a successful slave revolt are subjective and kind of less important than the fact that the rebellion took place at all. Because while they may not have been able to take the city, they certainly dealt a blow to the system, and one that would change the entire framework of the institution for years to come. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Crash Course is made with the help of all these nice people, and our animation team
All right, nigga.
is thoughtful.
All right, nigga. Hold on. Explain.
So, once again, y'all heard the man when he spoke. He was able to name the people that was doing the rebellion. He was able to see
Shout
who
out
the people
Charles.
was. You know what I'm saying? It's just why we wasn't talking about these Louisiana rebellions, fellas.
Right at
Why we
home.
don't talk about this?
Why they didn't
I don't
teach us
And we
teach
did,
about
us.
and
none
we
of the
did have
rebellions?
Louisiana history too.
You see what I'm saying? They ain't teach a nigga about none of these rebellions that happened. All they taught us about was slavery, slavery, slavery.
Slavery,
What
slavery,
happened to the
slavery.
slave?
Not just slavery. They told a nigga about them the conquistadors and white boys who was discovering shit, Lafitte and De Leon, and they did.
Mm-hmm.
Ponce
They
de
was talking about
Leon,
that
all
shit
them.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's
Yeah.
weird that you only talk about one side of history. So I get where you're coming from with it, but they definitely didn't want to talk about slavery, P. They wanted to talk about them white boys who did shit. They wanted to talk about
Mm-hmm.
Robin Hood and them niggas. They were musketeers and shit, and they was
Who robbed
allegedly
for the
black.
rich
So that's
and
the
give to the
crazy
poor.
part, bro.
Yeah,
But just
that's
speaking on certain parts of those tribal situations, bro, you have to know the land, chap. Key words I was listening to was them actually knowing the land the way they did and how they had it set up. I think some of his
mm-hmm.
people sold him out on some bullshit, and I think he was foolishly tricked too as well. Cause like I said, the French also had black people in their army as well. If we remember in our head, or if we gonna go by even if you go by the African shit, you gotta remember black people were around. So they probably was in these armies. They probably was these type of people. They probably was these type of people. So you can't just eliminate them from anything now, since the beginning of everything, right? Oh, just going by their logic. If everybody come from Africa, that means they got a nigga and everything, then, correct? Oh, see, by their logic,
A
dude. But
nigga here, a nigga there, a nigga everywhere.
exactly. You got a nigga Germany, you got a nigga French, you got a nigga exactly. So you got to go by your same logic if you're going to present that as something that all came from Africa anyway, right? But yeah, you have to look at that too, and a lot of people who give through history, through this code, believing that a lot of these so-said white people like Christopher Columbus and shit did what they did, but in actuality it was other people that was helping them because of the connection with melanated skin. It was used and tricked by us, using our tactics to communicate with each other, because we was always trading and shit through different factions. So yeah, fellas, is definitely a move that we gotta understand too as well when it comes to history and how they tell it versus what you actually been hearing yourself, and just apply it together. I love to keep mentioning that because I think we take ourselves out of what we know versus what we hearing sometimes, instead of putting it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say, a lot of the information, and it's funny how you have all that information, right? But, nobody knows what they said. Why they don't know what they said? If you saw 3 people going in a hut trying to have secret conversation, ain't you gonna go up to that hut door and listen? The fact that they say them dudes putting a massive amount of weapons that they needed, ain't no way 500 motherfuckers and less than 25 of them ain't had no gun. Yeah, ain't no way. You done raided from
What? St. Charles Parish all the way down to New Orleans. Started off with maybe 125 people, and now you done grew to a group of 500, and small militias take you out. Ain't no way. I don't see that happening at all.
You looking at your screen, P?
Yeah, if we had come from Africa, they would have records. Do each people who voted out on that slave ship have a name? Oh, okay. Of course they had names.
They should,
Of
my
course
brother.
they had names.
Even
But
if the bitch was Chewbacca, it's a fucking name.
But the problem was what? They wasn't coming from Africa, right? So you couldn't just make up a name for all these different motherfuckers that you see coming from Africa, because you wouldn't know how to say some of them names in African language if they really was coming from Africa the way they said they were. Especially from the map that your girl showed, like they was coming from all over the African continent. No way. 10 million people and you ain't got a name for all 10 million? Show me how that works. So a person will tell you from Africa their uncle or their cousin or their brother had been a slave, had got put on a slave ship. That's why I don't believe the Titanic story. That's a fact, because the Titanic is just what they say it is. It's a story. That shit didn't happen. That shit never happened.
Yeah, shout out to Brandon 86. You bring up some great points, people. Shout out to you.
That's about it. Chop, you had anything else you wanted to present, brother? Or was that all for you? Well, folks, I'll tell you what. This has been another good Sunday convo for Blunt Talk NOLA. People, do your due diligence. Use discernment. Start looking at what we're being told and start thinking about the timeline, the numbers. If the numbers ain't adding up, it ain't making sense. Because there ain't no way 10 million people come over this motherfucker and you ain't got no name or nothing for 10 million people. There's no way possible that you could get 10 million people over here on folk. Even if you did it the way they said.
The numbers got up
it.
to the hundreds, P. I don't know where you're going with this, but the numbers got up to the 100 million. About time.
Right, but still,
the 90s
that
came.
number just wasn't making sense.
It was 100 million Africans. I mean, if they want, sometimes they want to look at the books, and sometimes they don't. You know, when they're trying to make a point. So that's the whole thing with me. I eats up contradictions, Brandon. Brandon 86. I love contradictions. I'm telling you, you can have my partners. I be on their motherfucking neck. Soon as they do that dumb ass shit, man, come on, man. Talk to me with a little bit of logic. I understand you have emotions, but no, you gotta come with a conversation with logic, and that's the most of the time we do over here, bro. So trust me, everything. Look at this. Look, in the Titanic, why they keep mentioning or talking about one woman? But if you look at the movie, people had escaped while they never interviewed them, and other people will mention about their story.
That's a fact.
And other people that's mentioned about their story.
And the reason that they gonna say that is because she's the last remaining.
It's bigger than the
survivor.
Titanic. I like to tell my people over here, Brandon. Look, it's bigger than Nino Brown, man. How did he set up? How did the Carter get set up? You know what I mean? Yeah, man.
Yeah, folks. So yeah, once again, man, like, subscribe, and
you
share.
got something?
Tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody. Huh?
Hey, you got something?
Nah.
On your revolt?
Nah, that was it. That was it.
That was it for you. Oh, okay. I got something to present though, if you don't mind, brother.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm just
you good.
Pimp like you see.
It feel different, huh? Welcome to the other side. See, it's victimless side over here. We don't make no excuses over here. I'm just letting you know I still exist. You know, I had a little segment I did want to do. If you would allow me on your week, you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
Pimp on, brother. Pimp on.
Yes. Got a little sub, fella. Got a little sub.
Thought you'd be looking for transportation out of town by now. Trip, man. You gotta tell me what's going on, man. You done slid down a razor blade and landed in an alcohol river. Word is,
Had to send you a shot right quick, Peter. Your ass did. Did a Q move. Had to Samuel right quick. But we gonna talk about this red summer though, fellas. Look, we had a serious problem with this stuff we talking about. With somebody going through some things and thinking that they should have things they certain way. We're talking about colonialism, colonizing, and all this shit, which even caused revolts, fellas. And sometimes we hear these stories where we don't give up and we don't give in, but they do all this shit to us. And then this shit doesn't seem fair when we go to the courts and the judicial system to say, hey, they're not supposed to be doing none of this shit. What are we to do? Protect your neighborhoods and don't get arrested. But things don't go always as to plan, fellas. So I got a good one for y'all. It's called the Red Summer. It happened a while back. I think in Nebraska, if I'm not mistaken. Around a good time where a lot of niggas just trying to find their place in this world because of re or declassification, fellas. And a lot of stuff is going on, and a lot of so-called exodus, as we would say over here, happened. And no matter how far we ran, or no matter how much we tried to get away from them, they always seem to find us. But the story you hear is that we're always trying to be around them, and we're always want to be accepted by them. But at one time, it wasn't always like that, fellas. At one time ago, we ain't want nothing to do with that. So we gonna get into this, and we gonna try to put some of these pieces together. Hope my brother's following along with me. Check it out.
It was called the Red Summer of 1919, named for the blood that ran through America's cities during months of racial unrest. African-American soldiers had returned home from the Great War, World War I, to a country still teeming with discrimination. And in their quest for civil rights, tensions between blacks and whites reached a tipping point. Deadly race riots broke out in over 24 cities, but one rural town, Elaine, Arkansas, would become the epicenter for the bloodshed. The violence there, lynch mobs, torture, indiscriminate murder, was so horrific, it would go down in history not as a race riot, but as the Elaine Massacre. This is history. Dark history. During World War I, more than 350,000 African-American soldiers enlisted to serve. But while they fought for democracy abroad, their own country, America, was still not willing to see them as equal.
White supremacy was very mainstream at this time in the United States. Basically, a lot of African Americans were seeking to obtain their full rights and equality in the United States, and violence was often used by mobs of whites.
Tensions reached a boiling point in the summer of 1919. Race riots broke out in dozens of cities across the country. But in the rural South, something even more menacing was taking form. There, slavery existed in all but name. In a system called sharecropping, farmers provided landowners with labor for a share of crops produced. But the system was rigged. Sharecroppers were often kept in perpetual debt.
One black sharecropper raised $500 worth of cotton, and his landlord told him, yeah, but you used $697 worth of supplies, so you owe me money.
Everyone who has any power at this point is working to make sure they keep African American laborers tied to the land.
For roughly 50 years,
let's talk
the
about
system
that.
went unchecked.
Oh, now that sounds like slavery right there, huh?
Another form of it. Perpetual.
Wait. Hold up. Remember, what was the dates? 1911. So wait, this is right after the show said let go of World War I too. Around the time of World War I too as well. Remember the World War came like what? You would say 40 years later from freeing slaves.
I
I
believe
think
so.
it was like the
I believe so.
1860 something. I think, if I'm not mistaken. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you look at the timeline, it's weird that you have people now in debt to where they feel like they have to work like they were working like slaves. All in the same
Damn,
timeline.
you got $500 worth of cotton, but you use $697 worth of supply.
Where did that come from? Them actually working on that same plantation, doing that same type of work, Peter?
And what
Think
supplies
about
was
it,
you
man.
giving them? Ain't no way you charge $697 for a fucking bag.
Nigga said, what supplies was you giving them, bro? He couldn't have been worth that much, happy. But think
Hell
about
no.
what they did, though. Look, all they did was tell you wasn't a slave no more.
Yep.
They're doing you the
you
same shit. Yeah. They told us we were free. Yeah, you is. You now have a wage and you paid. Remember, I showed you them. I showed you Jones Plantation, man.
Yep.
All right, now don't act like you don't remember. Now, talk about it.
Prime example.
What
prime
does
example.
it do to your mental when you have the Jones Plantation syndrome, Peter?
I ain't gonna lie. Thinking about the Jones Plantation is a wonder why niggas used to say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Same thing they were doing on Jones Plantation. You pledging allegiance to a motherfucker and they fucking you. Royals. It just never seemed to end. Like, that perpetual debt thing. That's the thing that everybody should have been really looking for. Perpetual debt.
Yes.
Like, what was...
Create a money system so you invest, right? That's how they talk.
We gonna
you just was a slave. Listen, you was just a slave. Remember that what they told you. And that was a good idea.
If that was the case,
shit.
And they, like, the first time motherfucker tell me, hey, you owe me $697 after I done picked $500 worth of cotton, like, in one day I done picked $500 worth of cotton for you, and you turn around and tell me, oh, well, you use $697 of supply. Nigga, I'm gone. Fuck you and them $697. I gotta go. I'm free to leave. You see what I'm saying? That's
Brandon,
crazy.
answer. You respond to Brandon right quick. Brandon 86 got something to say, brother. You gotta respond to him. What he
for my grandfather passed away. Oh, grandmother. He said my grandmother passed away.
Oh, you can't
She
see.
was
My
100
bad.
years old. Never said we was from Africa. Thank you. Fucking thank you.
Yay. A-B. Say B. We have to look at that. We can't take these factors out of who we are as people. And you're right, Brandon 86. You're right, brother. You can't take them factors out of that. She got at least and taught you something, had a quilt or something, man. Something to connect you to the motherland. Like, we could look at Africans right now that's been here as long as they've been here, like Godfrey. Godfrey tell you, he grew up in Nigerian parents, and he know all the swag, all the dip, all the same moves. We should invest in that same attitude when we look at who we are as a people. It's not that we don't know, it's just that we lost at home. Shout out to UBTV. And if you're not tuned in to UBTV, Brandon 86, go check him out, man.
504 said my family said the
Medicine Man as
same
well.
thing. So we got all these families and elders in the family that say, hey, none of my people ever come from Africa. I don't know where they get that shit from. I don't know where they get that from. Why was we told that? If so, why do we keep believing it now, knowing that
Dragnet.
is all right there?
Dun.
Like I said, bro, my grandmother was born in 1902. My grandmother. born in 1902. My grandfather, I think he was born in like 19. I think either my grandfather was born in 1902 or my grandmother was born in the 1900s. But they both was
If
born
we from
in the
Africa,
time of
what is an
at the time of
African
Jefferson.
booty scratcher?
Dirty.
I don't know where that comes from.
EMF.
Answer that question.
Right?
What is an
I
African
sat there
booty
and I
scratcher?
sat there and I thought about it. If my grandmother was born in the early 1900s and my
From off
great
the top
grandmother
rope,
was
huh,
in
Chop
her
Check?
20s
What the fuck is an
when she
African booty
had
scratcher?
her,
We just gonna skip the fact that we was niggas and nobody. What's the African booty scratcher, my boy? Why
I
do
don't
we?
know, that came
Why we
from
call them niggas that?
what that movie was? With
Yeah,
Kane and them in
you
there,
lazy. You're lazy African. You don't know.
just sitting there scratching your ass. But so I
No,
sat
man,
there
that's
and I
not
did the
why
math,
people was
right?
doing that. People was calling the blackest people African booty scratchers because they was black.
Triple black. Triple black. So
Yeah,
black
like,
they
why
look
you
blue.
act like-
So black they look purple.
Yeah,
Call it
that was the
midnight
only
and shit.
people was calling African booty scratchers. Not everybody. They ain't have no real fucking meaning. It just was. You was super
Nah,
black.
it really did though. No, it
Oh, I
really
ain't
did
never
though,
know.
because
I
the
didn't
nigga
know.
from Crenshaw Mafia was black too. The whole thing was your ass ain't from America. That what they really meant. You come over here as
My
an
mama
African
said
booty
we from
scratcher.
Crenshaw Mafia.
Yeah, you wait on your you wait on the government and shit. See, because they used to do that too. See, they used to get the little subtle little jobs and shit too. They could only do certain things too, just by them being looking more like us. So they had to settle as well. That's why they were called African booty scratchers. Because
They
niggas
saying
was
they got
doing their thing in the
50,000
50s and
people
shit.
without power too, y'all.
Yeah, Americans was doing their thing. Them niggas had houses, cars, and shit. Then they made the TV, too. Yeah, they was just working their ass off in the 50s. Oh, for sure. That's when a lot of Nigerians and shit started coming in. You can look that up. That's fake. They were African booty scratchers. They were living in them ghettos too, child. Haitians and all that. Real shit. And they got the Haitians fucked up too, though, because half of them, you know what I'm saying? That's
But I
actually
said,
they
you know how
land.
you
So
can
that
tell
be the
if a
crazy part
person
about that shit.
who look like us is from Africa. Ask them about their second cousin, third cousin, or fourth cousin. If they here in the United States, ask them about ask them about what's the first and second, first Annie, and
If you
second
can't see,
Annie.
Peter, we'll take over, brother, because I'm trying to follow
Is
what you're
there
saying, but I
any
can read it for
for
you.
Amy? If you got a lineage over there, you was born here. I'm not understanding that question. Who's the auntie?
It's how you
Gotta be
read
saying
it, I think, brother.
Okay, well, you try to read it then and tell me if you think that word.
If you can't,
Who
that's what
is
I'm asking. If
Annie?
you can't see, I'll read it if you want to read it, Peter.
Who's Annie? That's what I'm saying.
You know how you can tell if a person who look like us is from America. Ask them about the second cousin, third cousin, fourth cousin, if they here in the United States. Ask them about the
Annie.
Ask them about what's the first Annie's second Annie. Is there any for Amy?
Yeah, now you sound like me.
Annie.
If they
Annie,
only
I'm
have a
thinking he's
mother
saying
and a father
Auntie
here,
right
that's
there,
the
but when he
question.
say Amy, I don't know what an Amy is, though. I'm
I
thinking he's
think
still
he's
talking about
saying if they
aunties when he say
ask him if
Annie.
their mother and their father was from here. That's because he got another one that's at
Ask
the
him
time.
if they Amy, if you got a lineage over here. Okay, I guess he is saying Amy is mother, I guess, rather. But but we can talk about it. If they only have a mother and a father here, okay, yeah,
That's
right. I
okay.
mean, we have to. I mean, you bring something to the table, right? We also over here, B, we believe in. If you don't mind me calling you B, right quick, we believe in ancestral DNA, right? The cornrows is just as old as anything over here, but you have to grow corn somewhere, right? So if it's the oldest corn is in that area, then you have to say that these people probably got it from being in that fucking area. How long have the people been in that area is questioned by African historians because they have a narrative with that shit, and we understand that over here. So it's definitely not going to be a debate, B. We with you 100%. You have to not only see something physically, some of this shit just come natural, B. And you be, how the fuck, where am I getting this from? Where is it? What's going on? How do I connect with this thing more than this thing? And we look the same. But he look more a little like this, so he into this type of stuff. But he look like this, and he look a little more like me, but he, so it's not even that neither. We also go by phenotypes as well. We trust in certain sciences when you're not trying to abuse it or use it for your own personal narratives to push agendas. Like, we're definitely not into that shit. So we understand about that as well. The phenotype of people, bone structure and shit. That's the shit that they got right because they tried to prove their own racist shit. So sometimes they, shoot themselves in the foot by trying to push agendas. So these are the things we suck up as well over here when it comes to that. That's why we talk about that part of our heritage that was actually from the Americas and not connected with Africa at all. This man has they just found some black man that he ain't got no damn body phenotype. I said, these people here play too fucking much, Brandon. B, they play too much. He ain't got none of them. Because it's supposed to come from Africa, but they can't connect it to nothing, B. See? And that's the thing about that pseudoscience shit. I don't know how far you deep into, what's going on with that shit, but that's all that's called, B. Pseudo fucking science, right? They don't want to really tell you what's going on because they be on some bullshit because they got to push a certain narrative, right? And it's fucked up, though. And a lot of them look like you. Yeah, man. I'm going to go on to my next one, though. Y'all check this shit out, man. It was a red summer, bro. A lot of shit was going on, like the people say. So just jumping back to that one. Here we go, y'all.
In the fall of 1918, a black man from Arkansas had had enough. Robert Hill had decided to form a union to represent sharecroppers. It was a dangerous decision, and one that would set off a chain of events.
I stopped it right there just so y'all can hear it. I'm gonna finish letting it play. But remember what just said. That was a lot if you understand what we've been talking about this whole fucking time. This man stood up for sharecroppers after slavery, fellas. So remember, you're still under perpetual servitude. You're just not considered a slave. So they're still using the same tactics that kept you in slavery to keep you in debt. Did that make sense, fellas? Just say yeah or nay or put a 1 or say fucking right or something, Brandon, or chop P dot.
Y'all hear me?
Because
yeah,
no, I got yours. I ain't hear P dot. I don't know if you was paying attention.
Yeah,
that's why I'm asking.
Perpetual.
Let's roll then. We about to roll then, man. We about to roll then. Let's get it.
In the fall of 1918, a black man from Arkansas had had enough. Robert Hill had decided to form a union to represent sharecroppers. It was a dangerous decision, and one that would set off a chain of events involving mass murder, torture, and a landmark Supreme Court ruling. But first, he would need to organize.
In his message, Hill was pretty simple and direct. Why is it that we cannot have fair payment for the honest and hard work we do?
Despite the inherent risk involved with challenging whites, World War I veterans and other black sharecroppers became card-carrying members of the Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America.
He believed that by paying dues, these members could have the services of lawyers and sue plantation owners for cotton that had been stolen from them and false numbers that had been placed in the plantation stores' books.
On the night of September 30th, 1919, Union members gathered in Elaine to discuss their legal plan.
This is in Phillips County. It's basically just a crossroads at this time, a road, a few houses, a railroad siding, no streetlights. There's also a one-room wooden church, and that's where the Union met. Expecting that they might have trouble, the Union posted a guard of about 6 men. They had shotguns and rifles. The meeting's taking place, and while they're having this discussion, a car rolls up the road.
2 white men were in the car.
By one account, one of the white men in the car said, "You all get away from there." And shortly thereafter, a shot was fired.
Though it remains unclear who fired first, a barrage of gunfire broke out. One of the white men was killed almost instantly. The rumor of a black uprising spread in a matter of hours. The idea of a sharecropper rebellion conveniently played into the hands of landowners who did not want their sharecropping practices scrutinized. They did all they could, as quickly as they could, to sound alarms that black farmers were out for white blood.
The story
it was already on farmers.
is that the town is under attack, that blacks are killing people in the streets, that there is a revolution afoot.
The sharecroppers quickly formed self-defense groups, expecting repercussions over the death of a white man. But they could not have predicted just how severe the response would be. The following morning, under the watchful eye of Sheriff Frank Kitchens and his deputies, posses of white men were sent to find, detain, and kill the offenders.
When you have an out-of-control mob just being told there's a Negro insurrection going on, that mob's being very indiscriminate in its violence.
Watching this video now as an artist.
Sorry for the interruption, fellas, but what y'all want to take from that one? I just want to get y'all perspective if y'all have one, because I keep it moving.
What you say, Peter?
My bad, y'all. I was on mute. What I was saying was, what's crazy is 2 white men roll up on a motherfucking beat with 6 black dudes out stationed at the church to protect the people in the meeting, right? 2 white dudes roll up, a shot ring out, and then somebody fires back. Now I know we ain't got to speculate. That white boy took a shot at them.
I don't know how to feel.
Fuck that.
Yeah, he got him done, right?
Right?
His ass rolled up and found out what it was.
Away from here. And they all started.
I don't even think that happened, to be honest with you, Pete. I love your perspective on that, just to see that. I think they lying about that, just to protect the story of. It's like the white man still have to have some kind of pride in how he died and shit. Nah, you rolled into what you thought it was an easy lick.
Yeah.
And you got dealt with, man. Round stung your motherfucking ass. That shit wasn't popping round there, Pete. You see what I'm saying, Pete? That shit wasn't popping round there like that. You come around, well, you do all that crazy. That nigga lit his fire. He probably got out the car and everything.
Fuck wrong with you?
Yeah.
His partner was so scared he dipped. It was. Tell us. Then they write on the news with the shit. So how we don't know? Let me give y'all another scenario. What if they sent that dude there, killed the man in front of that bitch to go tell the news that they out here killing niggas so they could go out on hunts and shit?
Niggas out here
to kill
white
niggas.
Folk. Right.
Yeah, all along you done shot your partner on some sacrifice shit.
And what?
I don't know. You never know, bro.
Might not have been his partner. Might have just been a stool picture.
Some random ass white man they found. Yeah, some old drunk or something. They done found him on the side. There you go. That's even better.
Y'all get on away from there.
gang related. That's what they used to call it. But that's
You
what they call
die
it
by
now.
enemies, by friendly fire, and blame the black.
They're just different scenarios, but not here, bro. It's crazy. What you say, Chop?
What y'all see? I wasn't. I missed the last 5 minutes. I guess like 3 minutes.
But I push
Yeah.
on though. I'll go to the next one. Cause it's all talking about the same thing, so I keep it moving.
That mob's being very indiscriminate in its violence. You see houses being attacked, black-owned homes being ransacked.
The black school was burnt. Notable families were killed.
Black women and children have to go literally hide out in the woods because many of these people are indiscriminately shooting at African American women and their children.
Black veterans and other African Americans took up arms in self-defense.
This no doubt just feeds into the mob fervor. The fact that, oh, they're daring to shoot back at us. This must really be an insurrection.
One historian has identified more than 20 different killing sites where African Americans were being killed.
There are stories that mob members were taking souvenirs, such as ears or fingers from the bodies of fallen African Americans.
One of the leading black families of the county, they weren't even in the town. They had just received a brother back from the French front. They are pulled from a train, put in the back of a car, and they are stabbed, shot, and their mutilated bodies are left on the side of the road.
Within 2 days, 500 U.S. troops were sent to quell the supposed black uprising.
They don't find any blacks killing or shooting down the streets. In fact, Colonel Jinks reports that the city is filled with hundreds and hundreds of white men with guns. Many of the individuals who were hiding in the thickets were former soldiers who had just gotten back from the war. And when they see the army troops come, they rush out, believing that the army troops are there to assist them. The army believes that these people are rushing toward them to attack, and they're cut down by machine gun fire.
Although the exact number will never be known, a recent estimate suggests 237
Ain't no way
black
you gonna
men,
say you
women,
don't have
and
exact
children
goddamn
were
number.
killed. There was an immediate demand for justice, but not for the black lives lost. 5 white men were also killed in the fighting. Hundreds of African Americans were rounded up and put in jail, and when the jail was full, they detained the rest in a schoolhouse.
While they are detained, there is torture going on.
The goal? To elicit false confessions of a black uprising.
They whipped the men.
Here we go.
Whipped them for long periods of
Listen.
time. They stuffed formaldehyde up their noses, and they stripped them naked and shocked them with electrical charges. They did this until they confessed to the conspiracy.
Robert Hill escaped to Kansas, but his peers back in Arkansas were not as lucky. 122 indictments were issued, and trials quickly started.
The men were brought into the court
Ricos.
machines.
Back
They weren't
then,
allowed to
fellas.
consult with their defense attorney. The defense attorney rarely interjected, and then the all-white juries started delivering
Thought that was new.
guilty verdicts. In one case, the guilty verdicts came back in 2 minutes.
It's also important to point out that there were mobs
2
of
minutes?
people outside who were demanding
It's a
black
new
blood.
record.
Governor Bruff maintained that at some point these people would be killed, but they would have to have been killed justly.
The governor lived up to his word. When among the 87 black citizens charged with crimes, 12 were sentenced to death by electric chair. Despite the
course they
system
was.
being blatantly rigged against them, the convicted men had one unlikely beacon
Jesus
of hope:
had 12 apostles.
the American justice system. The trials of the Elaine 12 had been highly publicized.
We're gonna get to the end. We're gonna get to the end, fellas. We're gonna get to the end. What you think now, Chop? I'm gonna let you go first on that one if you was on it.
Yeah, I was writing my numbers down. But wait, what happened? So what happened? What happened?
Peter, freshen him up, bro. Freshen him up,
Freshman,
bro.
that's my fault. People.
All right, so for the most part, only 5 white motherfuckers died, right? But the outcry for justice wasn't about the black people; it was about them 5 white motherfuckers that died. Now, at one point, the soldiers saw that they were some other soldiers getting ready to come in town. They dropped their guns, raised their hands up to surrender, and got butchered, so to speak.
right? They mowed them down with gunfire. Everybody else was rounded up, put in prison, and those that couldn't fit in the prison, they round them up in a church house, torture them for confessions of killing, right? So now they're at the point where they want to have a discussion with the Supreme Court, which is the all-white Supreme Court, by the way, about them 5 white motherfuckers that got killed.
So they want justice for 5 white people.
Yeah. They want self-defense justice. They want self-defense justice. That's what they say.
Well, fuck the people, man. Shouldn't have went your ass over there fucking with people.
All because one man said we need to unionize for fair wages, fair labor practices, right, and fair payment. Like, you know, pay me and stop lying about the numbers.
Remember, Ku Klux Klan was taking over a lot of those unions that were supposed to be for everybody. So they tried to back doors. Like, we was all supposed to benefit from that, and most was. So they felt some type of way about it, and you know, they fucked around and found out. Like niggas be saying, Brown got killed that day. You know, just to catch chop up on some of the situation. You know, and Brown got killed that day, and then they wind up coming back on some dumb shit, Brown, and they basically saying that just those 5 white boys is more justifiably need trial before they didn't but they say they didn't kill hundreds, and they brag on that though. So that's the other part of it too. Like they saying that, yeah, we had to lay a lot of y'all down, but them 5,
they shouldn't have been touched.
Like them 5 though, like we gonna emphasize on that, and for some reason, as they say, that was more it became more of the trial than them actually going in there and killing hundreds. It led to it being more justifiable why 5 white people would actually do what they did. So this is a time and era, y'all, where these people actually looked at us like, like rats and roaches. And real shit. Like you're supposed to have you're supposed to have raid. You know how you get rid of shit? Like you supposed to have raid and exterminate. You supposed to have the boxes, you know, sticky paper. Like you put the head of shit for niggas, so you keep them from around you and keep them from doing crime and all that stuff. Like these people was fed this shit, y'all. Like we were a part of extinction, if that makes sense. Like we're not supposed to be around civilization, if that makes sense.
We is the civilization. They wouldn't have known how to do shit without us.
Do they know that?
I think they know that.
Of course they do.
I don't think they
care?
did. I don't think they do. No, I don't think they did. I don't believe that they know what their ancestors did for them to think the way they think.
Yeah, I think
everything is taught and everything is brought down. Everything is pulled into each generation from what has been taught to you. Just like it was taught to y'all to be subservient. Like, and I'm speaking of white people. Like, it's like, okay, like you taught to be subservient, but you taught to be subservient of people? No, not necessarily. What about rich? Now we talking about something. Let's talk about that money. What does money, for some reason, make a lot of people do? No matter what color they are. You know, so my point is like we have to understand how this shit actually works and how the game is actually being played. You just told a different concept of what your life's supposed to mean versus what their life's supposed to mean. You flip the script on them at any moment, you take your power back that you think they have, but you realize they just as stupid as you. Because they don't even want the power, right? They want to be like you. They want to be the oppressed. They want the oppressed hair. They want the oppressed color. They want the... Huh? So how that makes sense?
You don't.
It don't. It don't, right? It's like, hey, you know what it is. They know what it is. Subconsciously, though, child. But is they taught that though? No, they taught to be superior. They taught that they was the only slave owners. They taught that they oppressed black people, and you see what I'm saying? They're taught to be this ragged ass shit that they know they not, and it's the same ball game but different fields. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say it like that.
Okay. Now you caught up shop.
Yeah.
Man, that man good. What you gotta say? He straight. He ain't said that. You want to
I
say
had
something on
already
that?
said what needed to be said.
But shit, I'm about to. All right then, play. All right. I'm just the assistant now. You want me to get the powder out for you? 'Cause you
No need for the powder.
sound like you ready to slap somebody.
Go let it fly.
The trials of the Elaine 12 had been highly publicized. The NAACP took notice and stepped in with legal help for the 12. For 4 years, the team faced a series of legal setbacks and advances until in 1923, the case made its way to the Supreme Court in what is now known as Moore versus Dempsey. There, the defense argued that the original trials had been mob-dominated and the black prisoners had been denied their constitutional rights. In a landmark decision, the court agreed.
The good that comes out of this is that the NAACP sees for the first time that they can win in the Supreme Court, that things don't always fall along the color lines.
The 12, subjected to torture, injustice, and litigation travesty, were at long last exonerated and released in January 1925. They might have escaped with their lives, but there was nothing that could reverse the pain and devastation felt by the black community in Phillips County, and no way to unsee the ungodly truth that American men, alongside the American government, were complicit in a massacre of American citizens on American soil.
See,
We,
complicit.
as a nation, have grown and we continue to grow. We don't need
No, we ain't
to
grow
pretend
if
as
they
if
still
we've
complicit.
always had everything figured out. But if we are to
Here
do
we go.
justice to who we are as Americans, we've got to own all of it.
Here we go. See? They just told y'all exactly what they did, y'all. They was complicit with each other. White racist groups and the government, fellas, was complicit with each other to do this shit to niggas. And government do not want to take their lick. They don't even want to mention these racial groups that they were with. Even when they tell you that they're Democrats. What's up with that shit? That's the piece we're missing. That is the, you know what I'm saying, the
I believe
creme
the
brulee,
government is on a throw the
motherfucker.
brick and hide your hands thing. And if you need me to repeat that again, I will. I believe the government was on some throw the brick and hide your hand. Because if you knew that all across the country, race riots was breaking out, and the riots was only happening on the account of white people going into black areas trying to unalive black people or so-called black people, you would have shut that down long after it started. Like, oh no, we can't have this. This is gonna turn into a big old bloody problem, right? But instead, let's see how many they kill before they start killing you. And out of all that, all you heard was about 5 white dudes from Arkansas and 12 brothers that got arrested for defending themselves.
Yeah, more
Right?
of your people died, but more of your people got arrested as well.
More of my people die, but I'm gonna go to jail for just defending me. Cause they trying to kill me at this point. I ain't about to go out like that. So I'm about to lay up there and take as many of them as I possibly can. Oh no.
I never heard that
only 5
in
white
war
dudes.
though. Know what I'm saying? I never, yeah. So
Yeah, I never heard of
they
it being a
lied, B.
war.
B, I think they lied, bro. I think there was more white people killed. Chap, what do you think about that statement I just made? I think there were more white people killed. I think there were more peckerwoods laying in the woods that they really want to actually admit. Because remember, they said a lot of these guys was ex-military from World War I, fellas. And you know how they did
Yeah,
niggas in World War I. So
350,000 of them boys. Remember the number, 350,000. And they was from all over the place. Right? From all up and down the East Coast. 350,000 black men. Now, there's something else that kind of puzzled me. Where the TV footage come from? Because if I'm not mistaken, television didn't spring up until after 1942. Anybody else thought about that?
that's why I was asking Chop. That's why I was asking him first. But you jumped in that motherfucker, P. Like, give me the wine, brother. Let me. Chop said, I just let it. I know, dog. I was
I
just
thought my shit was
trying
on
to
mute.
keep
I
the
thought the thing
conversation
ain't
on low.
clear.
No, I was.
What's not on
Nah,
mute?
you good though, P. I just, I just hope y'all can switch back and forth right quick with what's going on. Cause I did ask him though, Pete. But we is listening to you though. If you want to pass it to him whenever you finish your conversation.
Go ahead, man. My bad.
Oh, Malcolm,
My
finish,
bad,
Malcolm.
No, because I'm just confused about how they had so much TV footage of all the stuff that was happening when television didn't come out until after 1940. After 1940, I believe after 1942, I believe television.
When did the
didn't start.
camcorder come out for recording?
Nah, but motion picture though. Motion picture. Remember, people used to go to theaters
Yeah,
way before
motion
that.
picture.
P.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Okay,
you're
now.
absolutely right. Because they did have motion picture way back then with no sound too, and that was for the deaf people. So yeah, you're right.
Used to push a
You're right,
lot of
you're
that
right, you're
World War I shit through cartoons too, to make it more acceptable to the masses. So
People,
yeah,
right.
it was a fuck show. Yeah.
Man, it's funny how now we sitting down looking at some of these things, the questions come about. Like, I don't think none of us ever really thought to question, well, if radio was the main source of information through the media up until 1941, but you had motion picture before 1940, then mainstream news media was just the radio, then how the fuck we get to television after 1942 when y'all been showing us the same fucking shit? I'm just saying, now, like that's something that I wonder, because my mind
I'm
was thinking
glad you
about
came
this.
to your epiphany, fuck, because this finally woken up.
Yeah, man, it's just one of them things. Like I think we, especially with this massacre, if we were to look up obituaries from the time that all of these different race riots and conflicts was going on, we probably find that there were a much larger number of white people dying in these conflicts and black people any day. Because the status quo always did have the judicial system on their side. They always had media in their back pocket. So if we start looking for obituaries during the months and years of these so-called race riots, we'll see that there was most likely more white folk dying than anything. And that would be a very damning thing to white superiority. And I think that's why a lot of that shit got left out of the media, like you was asking earlier, Silent. Why they don't talk about how many white people died. They don't want to know. Niggas was knocking their fucking blocks loose. Niggas knew how to shoot. You had to know how to shoot and know how to hunt. Right? And what no bow and arrows being used. Brothers was using them World War I rifles that came back from overseas. So let's just look at it like that for a second. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know my mama still had one, we call that thing the elephant killer. That big 12 gauge shotgun, that thing was about 3.5, 4 feet fucking long. Trying to hold that big motherfucker and shoot. Knock your shoulder out of place. So I could just imagine what they was being shot at and shot with if my people still had one.
The elephant gun?
Yeah.
She was gonna shoot your ass with it if you didn't take that fucking trash out.
Nah, what that fucking crazy.
Yeah.
She'll threaten. I probably get hit with a hammer before she whipped that thing out. Yeah. Ain't no concealing that noise.
Shit, ain't nobody had.
Hey, I don't think we worrying about the noise. Shit, Beck be concerned about. Oh God. We don't give a fuck. We know you got shot in your back. You didn't take that trash out. You heard, child. The whole neighborhood though.
Arab, you got buckshots all in your ankles.
The whole back spread. Oh, that is hilarious. That is funny.
Looking like that little ball for South Central.
Oh Lord, why would he do that? Why would he?
Hey man, you can't break out of jail.
Wasn't good, man. That was not,
it holds all in it.
Not a good comparison.
Trey Dukes here.
Looking at him. You get duped in your eye. You ain't got shot in your back. You won't be duped. Anyway.
Yeah. We gotta have that revolt mentality more than.
Yeah, I don't think. I think we can actually. I think it's a fucking. It's a bad fuck because it's so many. I don't know a man. I don't know too many men. I would say damn near 90% of the men that I know got guns. I would say 95% of the women I know got guns.
Yeah.
I'm just being real. Like, you know, they do. You know, I can't say that for men because I know a lot of people. The people I'm talking about probably convicted felons and shit. You know what I'm saying? Those dudes can't have guns. But I think most of the people that could have them, they got them. Or got access to them some type of way or whatever. But I think alone, like, let's use the military. I mean, we did these numbers before or whatever. It was so scary when we were doing these numbers or whatever. But
Mark said something to you, chap.
What did he say? Okay, OG Bobby Johnson saying, yeah. So yeah, he got shot in his back. Yes, sir. But damn, he fucked me up. What I was saying?
You say we did the numbers before.
Yeah, we did the numbers.
We did
so
the numbers
we know,
about
we
the.
know this, right? We know that. Let's just use New Orleans. New Orleans is about 375,000 people. We know that we only have in New Orleans to police 375,000 people. We only have about 1,200 police officers on fucking on staff or whatever. So then
On
if
staff.
we
And
say
that's
if we
just
do the
NOPD.
demographic,
Not
see if we
counting.
do,
Not
yeah, that's just
counting
NOPD. We're not talking
Yeah.
about state police. We're not talking about
Yeah,
none of that because all that would have to be
Let him
brought
ride.
in after the crime starts, right? They can't just come down before the crime starts. They got to come after the crime. That's why most of the time, if y'all notice, if shit get too bad, the first thing they do is say, "Oh, we're gonna bring in the National Guard. Do we need to bring in the National Guard?" That's because they need the fucking numbers. They ain't got the numbers. For a place as big as Los Angeles, that got millions of people, they only got like 10,000 police officers. Like you can't, it's no way. The only reason they can overwhelm you is with weapons. If they ain't using weapons, you can't do nothing. But we got weapons. And it's more us than them.
Right.
So that means we would have the power, right?
Yes, I ain't gonna lie, so you can't give me that power. Top, you can't give me that. You know why, son? Because my shit would be set up so cold where niggas like the Taken and Michael J. White and them would only be considered to be police. Like your criteria has to be cold as fuck. Like you had to been through some shit to understand people, children, and all that shit around, and be ready to know all your skills and training to use that to do anything. See them regular traffic stops and all that shit there, bro. That shit would be obsolete, my nigga.
Yeah, they wouldn't
That
even be
shit
able to do
bullshit.
that.
Son, that shit bullshit, man.
They wouldn't even be
You
able to
let
do
me,
that.
you, son, you
They
let
wouldn't even
bicycle
be able
cops
to
and
do
shit.
that,
See
dog.
that
Them
highway
bitches
shit?
would be coming
Y'all
out.
got too much
That's what they'll be
technology
doing.
to be talking
They'll
that
be
dumb shit
doing
y'all
what
be
police
talking,
supposed
chop.
to
I'm
be
telling you.
doing. When they see
Come on,
emergency
son.
helping somebody,
You get
a nigga tie you
investigations
out
done
and they
playing
on
with
the
my fucking
interstate,
force.
you help them people get on side the road. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're supposed to do. Officer friendly.
The fuck? No, because all that extra shit, it causes problems when what? You're underpaid, you act like you're over. You look at it like a desk job. Once you look at that type of police shit as a desk job, bruh, you're losing the factor of what you actually is and how important your job actually is as well, child. Especially but people got to understand this too, as well as being just normal citizens. You get paid for what you're good at. If you're not really good at it, then you're going to get paid how you actually going about your job as well. Yeah, people do get mistreated. Yeah, people do get underpaid for being good at shit. I get that part of it too, but there's also that factor of you just bullshitting knowing that you're supposed to be doing something that you're not doing too. And a lot of people, when they want to blame or play victim, they don't want to talk about what they didn't do or should have done to better their self. Not only to fuck the job, just to better yourself. You remember, you signed the application. You want to be a police officer. So certain people take that shit serious more than others. And I would hire more the serious people and I would put them more to a test when it comes down to that type of shit, fellas. You cannot rock on my police force, right? That's why I say they couldn't give me the power of that shit. Because I be on they motherfucking neck, dog, about a lot of that shit. You will have to go through a serious test to even become a police officer in my area. Is not even talking about detective working in my area.
No.
You let me be chief, P. You gotta be the nigga. You gotta know at least 2 martial arts crafts, nigga, to be a detective in my motherfucking
You
station.
gotta
That's
be
the shit I'm
truly
talking
well
about.
disciplined.
I don't give a fuck what it is. You can tell me nigga knees in karate. Long as it's 2 of them, bro, and you can prove that shit, man. I don't give a fuck. But you're going through a test. You're going through an optical to see. Ain't no fat ass police on my force at all, chap. I don't give a fuck if they call it discrimination, man.
If you can't run a
You hear what I'm telling you?
at least
Fat ass
in the 40,
If you can't run at
Okay.
least 5 in the 40, you can't be
I
on
ain't.
my fucking.
Hey, that's you. That's your force. You ain't gotta run fast. You can't have a fat. You can't. You
What's
can't
up,
have a
Boston?
belly.
JB
You
Ranch.
can't do that, man. JB Ranch. Shout out. What's up,
Belly
bro?
king not being
No,
your belly.
we just shooting the
Your
shit though.
belly
You know,
cannot
like I
overlap
said, bro,
your
we
belt.
just shooting the shit.
How about that?
Your belly cannot overlap your work. If your belly is getting in the way of you getting a perp. I'm sorry, I said a perk. A perp. Then guess what, Nick? You possibly could lose your job, and that's on the table. That ain't nothing that's gonna be hidden
I
because
just want
other
to know
people
how they
gonna be
pass the
Think
right
physical
about it
next to
like
you,
this,
exams
working
right?
on
and
their
Think about it
stomach
like
and
this.
shit.
to get on the force to
Come on,
make
man.
that
quick,
goddamn
right?
bill.
Use your
Real
brain
quick.
if you can't use your bellies. I'm
Real,
just
real,
saying, like
real
you gotta
quick.
make
Think
a way to
about it.
be a police.
Why the fuck do they gotta wear them goddamn patent leather shoes?
I don't know. That's a
Why they
question for
don't let
all
them
young men.
have
But
boots
on my
or
police force,
shoes or
nah, you rocking the motherfucking Skechers or the New Balance, and I'm talking about the runners. All shoes must be runners. I don't give a fuck if they Nike. You can wear the Nike.
as long as they steel toe, they
Runners.
go.
With some grip on
Runners.
the
They got
bottom.
They
they got
don't even need steel
steel
toes.
toe.
I don't think they
Yeah,
need
they got
steel
steel
toes.
toe tennis shoes.
No, I
Well,
don't want you
good
to
then.
wear steel
I
toes.
prefer that, Chop.
No, hell
Chop, I
no.
Yeah, they
prefer
got
that.
Because
steel
No,
toe
then you
tennis.
got to
that's
worry
killing
about
two with
complaining
one.
about motherfuckers getting stomped out and kicked on with them
Well,
steel
that's
toes.
killing two
I
birds with one
want you.
stone. Well,
Hell yeah,
he shouldn't be
because
kicking nobody anyway, and he not gonna be on my police force. See what I'm trying to say?
yeah, we don't need you to
You
kick
know how to
nobody.
bring a perp down. Look, look, if you on my police force, you know how to bring a perp down. Straight up. You know the jujitsu move, you know how to swap it. Like none of that shit is fearful to you. That's what I'm trying to tell you, P. Taking somebody down is nothing to you. I want that mentality. I don't want that, oh yeah, I know this from the police force, so do this. That's not my police. You see what I'm saying, P? Ain't none of that, bruh. I'm testing you, bro. I'm on your ass. I'm putting you through shit just to see how you respond and react to shit. You not
And you can
getting on
only
here,
use
man.
non-lethal moves.
I need nothing but warriors, like Chop just said, and soldiers, man. And they know how to
You
really
heard me?
be human beings too, and have compassion, bro. If you got a
Only
shop for that, you can't just
non-lethal
hire
moves.
people, dog. Hey, if that's what you good in, P, I just want to see what you're good in. I don't give a fuck if they lethal or non-lethal. I'm gonna tell you, you can't just kill people. I'm gonna definitely tell you that if you know how to do that, right? Oh, okay.
Can't just
But
go
I'm not
around
gonna
karate chopping
discriminate.
niggas across the back of their neck.
I'm not gonna discriminate if you know it, but it's definitely supposed to be. But you feel me, though? Like I want qualified people more than quantities of people, because I believe I could do more when it comes to the police force if everybody know what the fuck they doing versus me just hiring a bunch of people as just coming in trying to learn the game. I get more done, though. We just talked about that on the slave boat. That nigga Chop said 10 LGTs. Shannon Sharps would have took over a boat, nigga. So what you think we'll do to a police force if we had our mind right?
Say, Chop, can you put the link up again for him, bro? He said he can't get on. I guess that link I put up must be messed up. He said he can't join the stream.
Oh, JB Ranch, you're definitely welcome, brother. Right quick, because P, I was ready to shut it down, but P, you can always orchestrate whatever you need to do when we come through. You know what I'm saying? You're always welcome, brother.
Yeah, it gave me a different smoking cigarettes anyway. But yeah, bro, like, and look, I think you're right, though, Sonic. That would be a good marker for having police on your force. Discipline. The discipline of having martial arts training under your belt. I ain't saying you gotta be like what that boy name? Steven Seagal, because he got caught up in some bullshit too. He was down there doing some flagrant ass shit. And that's why nigga kicked him off of Jefferson Parish Police Force. But anyway, having at least 2 disciplines of martial arts under your belt, coming onto the force, having good personal care etiquette as far as keeping your weight in check, and being able to pass a true psychiatric evaluation. Not that bullshit one they give you when you getting ready to get on the force. I'm talking about nigga. You
Yeah,
gotta go through
do you
some
know yellow and blue and
real
green
shit.
and shit? Do you know how to flick from one side to the
Yeah,
other and shit?
not
That
that
real shit.
bullshit, bitch. That real shit. Like, what happened in your childhood that made you want to be a police officer? That type of shit. Tell me about that. You know what I'm saying? Because, yeah, people say as children they want to grow up to be a police officer. I get it, because it is an admirable thing. But during them years in school, high school, junior high, elementary, something happened that made you look at a police officer and say, I would be a police officer. Maybe I could stop this type of stuff from going on. But then they get to be police officer and go to over abusing their privilege and their power. Like, no, the first time I hear a complaint about you doing something you ain't got no business that goes against the code of ethics of my police department, you getting on the bench. You gonna be a ticket pusher. Go out there with them goddamn meter maids. And I'm taking your gun from you. But yeah, man. So what's up, JB Reds?
Yo,
What
what
you
up?
got, brother? How you doing?
I'm good. Here's excuse me. Here's what's cool is I want to say on Sundays, but it's actually every day. What I've started doing is I go on YouTube and I scroll because I'm always on my phone and I scroll through the top and I click live. And I believe it or not, at age 41, I realized that when you click live, the shows that come up are shows that are actually fucking live. Of which you guys are one. I don't think I've ever been here before. Jason from Boston, hello.
Yeah, we listening to you,
We
JB.
listening. We here. Go ahead.
Cool. Number two, you. I don't know who the kid is in the background there, but
Oh wait, that's me. Let me
excuse me. Again, in between smoking cigarettes.
I can't hear.
So, like I said, you guys are gracious enough to invite me into the fucking show. I don't know what your political views are. I don't know what your show is about. All I know is that I'm here. So, hello everyone. Jason from Boston, welcome.
All right. Well, JB from Boston.
I appreciate
welcome
that.
to the show. Our topic of today was about the revolts in history.
But I was about
And
to ask, do you know the topic, or are you familiar with the topic, or you just want a roundabout of what our show is actually about?
Well, both and yes. The first guy said the topics of revolt, but please, could you key me in a little bit?
See that?
so I was looking at something that was happening over in Africa, and it was about the coup that took place where one of the political officials over there, which had been in power under under a regime over there, and they basically kicked him out because he wasn't doing right for the country, right? So that made me think about the types of revolts that have happened in history. So I decided to create a show this week on the revolts that happened in history. And a lot of the revolts that popped up, even though, it's a very touchy subject. I'm not gonna even say it's a touchy subject.
It's your show.
Why
so
not?
You're not going to offend me. I can tell you that.
Nah, it's not about offending or defending anything of that nature. It was what kept popping up when we all were trying to find out about revolts? Everything pointed to slavery. And we know that there were revolts with the Chinese. We know that the revolts were with the different nationalities and races across the world. The main thing that kept popping up when we searched for it was all about slave revolts. So we just went with that. Even though there was revolts of Native Americans that happened in this land, and we just got through talking about that a little whiles back. That's what today's show is about. But we pretty much talk about everything: sports, politics, music, movies.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, we
Can I
talk
swear
about
here,
a
by
lot of
the way?
stuff.
Didn't even ask that.
Wait, say again?
No, I said because I said, oh, fuck yeah, but I didn't even know if I could swear here. I'm brand new. Like, I'm 2 minutes in.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty much the gist of what our show is about. Like, the title of it is Blunt Talk, because we speak bluntly about what we're presenting. Like, we take information that we find that's not in mainstream media, that never really made it to the surface, and we talk about it. Like, it doesn't matter what color you are at this point,
Especially
whether you
that,
black or white.
especially that, and you can't purge. Just wait to 10 minutes though.
Thank you.
That's when you first started the show, and I hope you subscribe to it as well. I hope you subscribe.
Yeah. I would never join a panel if I hadn't already watched you guys for at least a minute and already subscribed.
It's just YouTube etiquette, just you gotta ask, you gotta ask. This is Silent Child 17. This is God's son too, by the way. It's a 3-part panel, and we all have our own points of views on different subjects as well. Love the hat. We definitely have, different options, and we definitely be wanting to hear other people's points of views and their options and opinions on a lot of these different subjects. So we welcome especially the people of the lighter hue to come through and tell us what's going on their side of the end, because y'all been lied to too. And we talk about that a lot over here as well. So definitely
what you're going to hear from me is thank you very much. What you're going to hear from me is not what you're going to hear from the typical random chatter. And I don't work for the CIA, by the way. I'm not infiltrating here. But Jason from Boston, fucking, what if I told you that slavery never ended, and it actually has nothing to do with blacks and whites, but slavery is done primarily, universally, and all-inclusively by the ancient Roman, aka Jewish bankers worldwide? What if I said that? Would that be outlandish?
No.
Not to
That
me.
would not.
No, not at all.
That was some of the stuff that I was actually talking about earlier with the fellas. So you're definitely on the right page of where we were going with some of this conversation before we was about to end. So like I said again, we glad you came through, because if you want to see some of these videos that we were speaking of on that situation, we could definitely, refresh you on some of that, or you could go back and watch the replay. That'll give us another view, because we're definitely trying to pull this type of audience, that's really interested in a lot of these situations and what actually happened to all of us as a people, especially in Americas.
Especially in America, because that's why they call, how they say it's the great, and by the way, if you guys are ending soon, just end when you want. Don't let me keep you on. But that's why they called it the Great American Experiment. You know why? Because the satanic, baby-eating, serial-killing Jewish bankers that run the fucking world created the American experiment so they could experiment on us with a whole new system. And when you start thinking that way, you're able, one is able to discern why this world is so messed up. Why do we fight wars? Why is the homosexual agenda exploding? When you view it through that basic lens of of the genesis of things, then people start questioning. And what people need to do, number one, what does the 5-year-old do? What does the 7-year-old do? They question things. Why is this sky? Why is it blue? What is water? Well, I submit that I think adults have stopped questioning things and just accept systems put upon them by authoritative structures, which are based from school and beyond through the educational system. I was hoping someone else was going to jump in and interrupt me. And be like,
Well, I was trying to let
I
you
didn't
get
want to
it
be the
out.
only one.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I was trying to let you get it out.
I was about to say that. No disrespect.
But
you didn't want to interrupt because you didn't want to disrespect the fucking truth. Everything I'm saying is fucking real.
No, we let you talk over here. We definitely let you talk, so we were just letting you have the flow. That's all. But we
that's what I'm
definitely.
saying. You go through a few
Go ahead, though, child.
episodes, you're gonna see all the shit you just said. We be talking about already. So
That's why I
we on
joined.
the same.
So if I ever want to, because I know you guys want to end your show, if you don't, I'll stay on. But so who do I look up just so I can get it in my ear and in my mind? Who do I look up to find you guys again on YouTube?
Blunt Talk Nola.
Cool. Very nice.
Yeah, it's Blunt Talk Nola. Blunt Talk is going to be all one word, and I believe it's in all capital letters. And Nola is going to be Nola in lowercase letters.
Yeah, I thought you said Nova. Nola.
Yes.
Very nice. I have a
And
freaking dry
if you actually click the subscribe and to subscribe all, you'll get definite notifications of when we're getting ready to go live or anything like that. And you'll get the notification that we
I already
have
did that, but I'm gonna write it on my fucking chalkboard here.
If I could, if I could say anything on there too, JB, go back to some of our topics. Some of those topics is those titles, man. Some of those titles might catch your interest, and it really might, shock you how we actually come through with it. It's definitely an open platform over here too, as well. Like I said, you had some great points too. I would love to expound on some of those. So definitely have the bell on that notification, bro, when we go live, because soon as we go live, that's the best time to come in and really have those conversations, because we definitely want to get to a lot of that. But this is not my week, so I'm gonna let you know how it go. It's 3 people on the panel, and we all each have a week. So if this was my week, I'd be running it with you right now. But it ain't Silent Child Godson week. I would definitely. It's this Pete out week. This Pete out on the spot. So yeah. So you're welcome. And definitely catch up on some of those older lives, because definitely we have a lot of great conversations about all this stuff. You know what I mean? Just and joke too as well. We definitely are people of a sense of humor, so you don't have to feel threatened or worried about anything that you have to say on your end, because we understand you are a lighter hue brother. I am as well, but I'm a little more. Yeah, I mean, never mind.
Also, we also have a show on Friday. This is just our Sunday. Our main show
That's
is
just my little swag.
Friday.
We're from New Orleans, so that's a New Orleans thing. So I'm just letting you know how we rock. You comfortable. That's all I'm saying. You good, brother. Trust me.
Get comfortable. Kick off your shoes.
Don't be threatened, because you guys are obviously everyone.
Yeah, don't be threatened. I hope you're not. Yeah, I hope you're not threatened. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Everyone here sounds really fucking black, and I'm the only white guy on the panel, right?
Exactly. Like, thank you, y'all. See, I told you that's the only thing left. Tell him. White and black. Why is that the only thing left? Why we can't call yellow people yellow no more? Why we
gotta say
can't call red people red no more? Why we the only ones
yeah,
calling
you
each other
gotta
white
say
and black?
it.
It's a
If
lot
you
of things
don't
we
say
talk
it,
on here too,
then it's
JB.
like they're gonna be saying,
Honestly,
It'll
it's
be
weird.
uncomfortable.
black, white.
That should be offensive too, huh? Yeah, shouldn't that be offensive too, JB? Why y'all want to be called white? Like, shouldn't that be offensive too? Like why we want to be called black? You know what I mean? Like, that's the type of stuff we be over here. We are very, free expression over here. Besides LGBT and them, we ain't no letters though. I'm gonna let you know we ain't none of them letters now. All right,
Do we
now.
have any
All right now,
LGBT
JB.
here? Because that's something I don't do.
JB, we ain't none of them letters, JB. All right now. I remember you said that earlier. You was saying we was against that. So I congratulate you. I don't understand it either. We talk about that too. There's hundreds of pages of genders.
I'm just with
all
nature.
kind of stuff, JB, all kind of stuff.
Yeah,
we be on it though. Fuck with your boy and them. You went out a lot of Huber brothers. If you accept our invitation.
I can tell you one thing. I have really, really cheap wine that I'm drinking, and I've written on my dry erase board here, I have Blunt Talk Nola. So
yes, sir.
At least I got something going on this.
Oh no, JB, guess what? JB, guess what? That's all you need, JB. Watch. Go look on YouTube. Watch what you find. Go look on Instagram. Watch what you see. I'm telling you, that's us.
Yeah, we have an Instagram. We have YouTube. We had Anchor at one point. We had some stuff loaded up on Anchor. We got about 4 years worth of video. Well, at least 3.5 years worth of videos on YouTube. So when you go to our YouTube page and you go through the videos,
3.5
scroll all the way down to the bottom, because I think our very first YouTube episode was titled Puberty Blocking Pills for Kids.
So
and
we're
that
already
was
best
the
friends. Yeah, so everyone and me here are already best friends. Puberty blocking pills.
That man said that shit like 3 times already.
I don't fucking need it here anymore. We're already best friends.
Man, this did that. He hit the subscribe button. He said that already.
And I would say to you, go and look at my channel, and I would have said to you, I've uploaded over 700, 800, 900 videos, and most of them are deleted because I voted the wrong way. So that's it, isn't it?
Damn.
Wait,
JB, I'm gonna see what's happening. What's your page called?
Way.
JB,
what's your page
JB
called?
Rants is my YouTube channel. Most of it,
JB Rants is the same name of you. Okay.
Yeah, JAY.
We'll check it out.
RANTS.
I think I came across. Matter of fact, can you put your link in the comments for our other
I'm on my
viewers
phone.
to be
I
able
don't
to...
have that ability. Maybe a
I
moderator.
can go look
can
it
do
up.
that for me. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm good. Yeah, JB, I got you. I just want to know. I'm glad you gave me that background.
Again,
but what happened with? Yeah.
Yeah, I was really getting a job.
Shit. Make America great again.
I was really getting
and he was getting a lot of flack for that.
People seem to like my hip hop song called "Enemy."
You got 2 of them.
Wearing the blue shirt, and that's the only thing they left up because they thought it did more damage to me than good. That's how the internet works.
Okay.
It's fucking weird. But aside from that, the only things that are left are scraps and bits and chicken wings and pieces and, fucking, just whatever. But, oh my god, back in the day before they really clamped down on YouTube, I had close to 2,000 people following me, and we used to do politics till like 3 in the morning and shit. It was...
Right. I'm listening. JB,
Now,
where you at?
When you guys starting to hit up me.
Huh?
No,
because That's why I don't want to interrupt you. That's why we let people talk, because then it becomes weird if you start talking while you're listening to them, right? So that's all I was doing. I was just ad-libbing and agreeing with you because I'm really listening to you. Like, that's crazy, though, because obviously you heard something over here that was kind of a little controversial and probably reminded you of your own page. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Continue then. My bad. I ain't want to interrupt you.
No, I'm done.
Okay, but
I rant in order to sort of cement myself, and then most people either tell me to fuck off or let's hang out. One of the two.
So guess what? You welcomed over here all the time, but at the same time, we don't even know how they even connected that to you, besides how the algorithm rocked. So it seemed like, you know what I'm saying?
It's like the algorithm works in reverse. Yeah. They sent me to you.
Yeah, what you mean reverse?
Wow, that's interesting.
No,
like
So
usually
something we must have talked about sent the algorithm to you to tell you tune into us.
Right, that you don't agree with. So what you think you don't agree with? Because I'm trying to tell you, JB, you actually agree with what we've been talking about. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. What's the reverse part?
Yeah, that's why I don't understand what you're saying, because what you're saying, everything is true, accurate, and correct. But
you don't understand it.
Yeah, it seems like an algorithm that normally prevents me from finding channels like this, and vice versa. You finding you get
I
like me.
apologize. I took that the wrong way. I'm sorry,
like
JB.
it's almost
you're
like
right.
it works reverse. Like
I was a little defensive. Yeah, I was a little defensive. I was.
Should. Oh, by the way, you should be.
I shouldn't be, I know, but you know why I am, right? Because of what you're talking about with the situation. So, but you're right, dude. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And that's my epiphany with this shit, right? I understand that I catch more people of your color, just being honest, that come over here and be like, wow, these guys are, saying something I agree with. Yeah, because we're all people. It's weird because that's them with the separation. I be telling my brothers the same thing, though. You're taught to be racist is just as well as we were taught to be racist. It's just two people are on the same different sides of the boat. So when one understands that they're not no more superior than the other, then we could understand who really is the superior if we want to do tests and shit, or have races, or have challenges. You see what I'm saying? And all black people ain't gonna win, and all white people ain't gonna win, and we gotta be cool with that. But until then, we have all this bullshit, JB, and I'm with you now. So, like I said, I want to say I thought the wrong way in the beginning because I have to feel defensive because of the shit I was taught as well. So I just want us to understand each other. That's why I have to explain.
Are we done? Are we finished,
See what I'm saying? You understand what I said?
Sir?
I heard you, but you understand anything I said, though?
Through and through, 6 ways to Sunday.
I'm saying it with a smile on my face. You understand what I said, though, right? That made sense? Anything I said?
My actual smile
right, that's it.
on the face on the fucking camera. You know what I mean? Like
he twisted, y'all. He got you drunk, man.
I'm on my. This is that. I don't want to lie. This is my fucking 5th wine, but these are light alcohol wines, whatever. But
how many of them have you drank?
Well, like I said, this is just beginning my 5th. So
that's like the 3rd one since you've been on the screen.
Well, who's counting?
Me.
JB. He just told you who's counting, JB.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
JB, where you going with this?
He done down the 6-pack.
Said this is the 3rd one. So here's the first one. It's empty. Here's the second one. It's empty. And I'm starting this one. And
oh yeah, you're gonna be feeling good by the end of this show.
Well,
I'm
shout out to
with
JB, man. Yeah. JB done went from racism to drunk as a motherfucker.
No, I didn't go from racism, whatever, to anything. What I'm trying to say is that I don't. You guys.
You trying to say something now, JB? What you got to say,
Yeah,
JB?
I thought you guys were trying to end the show.
Oh, now you worry about the end of the show. P-Dot, you want to drop your ball, bro? End your show out, bro. It's on you, player. You already know how it go.
I prefer to stay on here as long as possible because it's good for me to practice my social skills. How's that?
Well, I'll tell you
yeah,
what.
that's how you steal. I know.
Make sure to tune in next Friday. Don't forget to
So you can steal
like,
some more,
subscribe, and
GP.
share. Click that
Yeah,
notification bell for all.
I want to see that
That
subscriber
way,
go up. I'm gonna call you a fucking liar, JB, if the subscribers don't go up. You hear me? You're a fucking liar, JB. You're a drunk liar if the subscribers don't go up.
All right, so that guy's obviously a jerk. Please continue, sir.
I will hold you to that, JB. JB, I'm holding you to that.
I have written. Nice job. Rick. I have written
Look, P-Dot, you saw that, huh? Look, P-Dot, don't laugh now, JB. I'm with you. I fuck with
Ain't
you.
no way he about to pass that dry erase board and not see Blunt Talk Nola, bro.
I have written up here.
I'm with you, JB, bro.
That's right. Blunt Talk Nola at YouTube. So once again, don't
Come
forget
back,
to
JB.
like, subscribe, and share. Join us Friday too, JB, because we be on here Fridays too now. We do Friday.
What you like,
and we do
Moscato
Sunday.
or you like Burgundy? You drink
Oh my
red
God,
wine or you
Burgundy.
you drink
And not
Moscato?
Moscato either. Moscato is too
Motherfucker.
sweet. I like
Motherfucker. That shit was bright though. You was
Great.
That shit was bright. You was chugging. That's why I asked. All right, JB. Could you be lying too?
Fucking
Motherfucker.
Dude,
Motherfucker.
don't
I
forget,
know. I know.
click that
JB.
notification
back.
bell, like,
We
subscribe,
fuck with
and
you,
share.
JB.
Tell
We're your best
somebody
partners.
to
You never
tell
know you
somebody
had.
to tell somebody.
We trying to make America
We will
great
be-
again too, and put a black style on it. You know what I mean? But we don't like black neither because we.
We will definitely be back here next week, y'all. Hopefully
Chop, I
we
was
get
just getting
another.
started.
We got
I
all
want to
kinds
tell them
of
about our
folks joining in,
heritage.
man. Join us next week, y'all, on Friday and Sunday for Blunt Talk Nola. I am your host, P. Dot on the spot.
Oh Lord.
Okay, it's out of Child 17.
Go, son.
Oh, okay.
Chop Chase in the
Yeah,
building,
Chop
you
Chase.
heard?
And JB Rants, who joined us last
Shout
but
out
not
to JB
least.
Rants, man. Y'all go follow JB Rants
Shout out
channel,
to
man.
JB
Shout him out for
Rants,
coming
man.
to
Get
the
him back
stream.
up, y'all.
Appreciate
Hope he
that,
get us
JB.
up too. Come fuck with us,
I
man.
don't know. Can
'Cause
we
we
pull
got some
him
shit to
back
talk
up? Or
about,
did
JB.
he close all
He
the
all
way
right.
out? No, he closed all the way out.
He
y'all.
gonna be all right,
Y'all go
P.
check
But
it.
definitely,
Yeah,
don't forget
man.
y'all
They got
like, subscribe, and
100,000
share,
people. They
man.
got proud.
We hope
What I
y'all
always
enjoyed
say,
this
P.
show,
He got the
man.
right game, but the
With the
wrong.
wrong player. Right game, wrong player, huh, bro?
Peace, yo. Look, yo. Shout out to yo. Came through the build.
DD504, Brandon 86, JB Rant, Marks, Jax, Gangster Grower, and last but not least, JB Rants, man. Thank y'all for dropping in, leaving y'all
You murdered
comments.
that man's name.
We gonna see y'all again next week for another good topic and another fun episode of Blunt Talk Nola. Once again, like, subscribe, and
Fuck
share.
y'all.
Tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody. And we out of here, y'all.
We gonna be back.
Peace.
We'll be back. We'll be back. We'll be back.